I'm excited for this one. I've heard a lot of good things.
What do you do with them?
We just push them out on all like social media and YouTube channels, and that way, the whole point of this podcast is to sit down. Here's a water for you too. I don't know if you want a water at any point. The whole point of this is to just get people's stories. And, you know, everybody's got a wild chaos story at some point in their life. I sit down with a lot of veterans, a lot of law enforcement, and just get people's stories. And then we get to document them, and then we put them out for people to be able to listen to. And we get a lot of really good feedback as far as just people's lives and what goes on in them, and people being able to connect with them, and especially in the outdoor world or the veteran community, law enforcement, blue collar guys, just your everyday workers. It's a really good thing. And so we started it this year, and yeah, it's going really well.
Great.
And then obviously Ransom was like, man, you got to sit down with Paige's grandpa. He's got some crazy stories. And so it's just, honestly, it's just you and I having a conversation. I know we just met, but yeah, I want to hear any wild, crazy stories from childhood to hunting jaguars down in the swamps of Mexico.
I can do that.
Perfect. So Chrissy, you good, kid? All right. So George, I'm going to give you a little intro, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong on anything, but kind of a little mini bio about yourself, because I'm really excited, and it's an absolute honor to be able to sit down with you. So you were born in 1934 in Anderson, Indiana.
Correct.
You just celebrated your 90th birthday.
That's
so
right.
Congratulations to that. You served as a corporal in the 82nd Airborne.
True.
What year was that?
53.
53. So 1953, you were 82nd Airborne. You served for 3 years in the military, correct?
2 years.
2 years. And you were one of 3 brothers that served in the U.S. military.
Correct.
And you had an older brother, Robert E., and it's Pavey, correct?
Yes, he was my next to me, and then my older brother was named Paul.
So when Paul was in the 5th Rangers.
Right.
And he stormed the beaches of Pointe du Hoc, correct?
That's correct.
Which was a very important position during, obviously, storming the beaches. Well, first, let's back up to your second. You had a first lieutenant, that was Robert, and he served in the 82nd Airborne during Germany.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your oldest brother, which would be Paul, he was a 5th Ranger, and he was killed during the invasion of France.
Correct.
And that was at Pointe du Hoc.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty important strategic position during when we were storming the beaches, because that was one of the highest points, correct?
Right. And one of the main reasons why they were there, the 5th Rangers, well, there was, I think, 3 companies of Rangers on that raid. And when it started out, the generals knew that the Germans had 3 large guns on top of that.
The artillery.
And they could shoot 12 miles out to sea, besides cover all the beaches. So they knew they had to knock those guns out. So they made the Ranger unit up. They started them out. And over a period probably of a year, they did nothing but take men in and call men out until they had what they wanted to storm those beaches.
And so that point separated Omaha and Utah, I believe, correct?
Right.
Which ended up being pretty much the landing points for everything after they took the point?
Yeah.
I mean,
my brother's company was supposed to land a half hour after C Company climbed a bluff.
Okay.
And their job was to go up on top of the plateau and work their way down to the top of Pointe du Hoc in case the boys that were coming up the cliffs didn't get the job done or needed help.
And you're talking sheer cliffs on that beach. I mean, they were like 35, 36 meter tall.
Yeah, yeah.
And these, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, obviously you can, but, you know, your brother served during that time. But it's so hard for us to fathom. I'm sure, you know, like our generation of more of an urban environment versus landing on a beach with sheer cliffs, and you have to cross that distance of beach and then somehow work your way up these cliffs under machine gun fire and artillery fire.
Yeah, and I had a good friend that was over at Pointe du Hoc on a trip just this year, and he was on a tour of the grounds, and they were walking and they stopped at this particular point on the trail, and there were 7 plaques, about 18 inches by maybe 10 inches high. And there were 7 of these plaques, and he happened to notice my last name on a plaque. And the plaques had pictures of the soldier that they were talking about, and then just gave a little bit about him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he texted me and he said, "George, was your brother's name Paul?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, there's a plaque here with him on this plaque." So then we started thinking about why and how did he happen to be the one that was on a plaque out of 3,000 men?
Mm-hmm.
Were they picked at random, or just a coincidence?
So you didn't know this until this year?
Didn't know that till this year. And Marie and I had been there, but we didn't walk that particular trail. So I've been in the process of different people trying to find out why and how his picture's on those plaques.
Oh, so you still don't know?
Still don't know.
Was there just the 7, were they all Rangers on those plaques? Or was
Yeah.
it, okay, so it was from the 5th Ranger Battalion or Regiment that was there?
Yeah.
So maybe that's who we should probably look at contacting, and maybe they have the history of that.
Well, it's a mystery. I don't know just how to find that out. I have this book that my friend that was over there and discovered that plaque. I have a book that he found for me, and it's written by my brother's commanding officer,
Okay.
who was a lieutenant at that time. And it's really pretty neat. There were 72 men in his company when they stormed that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of Rangers?
Yeah, the Rangers. And when they got to the top, my brother was one of 26 that made it to the top.
Out of 72 Rangers, 26
72.
made it.
Yeah. And then that 26 men that landed that day had to crawl the whole time they were on that mountain trying to get down to Pointe du Hoc. And they had to crawl because of machine gun fire. Mm-hmm. And they had to take their packs off because the bullets were hitting their packs. That was how low they had to get on the ground.
So they didn't come from the beach. They flanked it?
Right.
Okay.
The beach was to their right, and
Okay.
they landed, when they were coming in, they were supposed to land at a particular place.
Mm-hmm.
And the commanding officer of the 5th Rangers could see what was happening on the beaches to the other boys. So he
just getting
said,
chopped down at that
he
point.
said, "We're not going to land right there. We'll go a little farther down the beach," which they did.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't help a lot, but it helped.
How long? So your brother obviously made it off the beach. Do you know how long he was? Did he make it to the point?
They crawled all night toward the point, and they were in a counter offensive, you might say,
Mm-hmm.
the Germans put on, and they fought all night, and then the next morning, and I don't have the exact time, but in the book, it tells about the commander wanted to find out where the rest of the men were because he didn't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent my brother, and I don't know how many men, but I know there was one fellow, and then my brother, and they had to make their way across an opening that was maybe 60, 70 feet wide without any cover. And the first guy made it across, and the second guy, which was my brother Paul, he was hit in the chest with a machine gun fire and killed him there the next day. And it tells this in the book. But the guy that did this book ended up being a general after the war. And everything that he put in this book is so detailed. And when he talks about these men, these 26 men that made it to the top, every time he refers to the men, he drew a little map in the book.
Okay.
And he actually has 26 dots where the men
moving as they were crawling on. Really?
Yeah.
So he documented it pretty well.
Yeah, really well.
And so, did you hear these stories? How old were you when your brother was over there serving? Because you're the youngest of the three.
Yeah, I was only 10.
So did you hear these stories like during that time, or did you have to find the book and get the details then?
As far as my brother's death, my mom didn't ever want to talk about it. You never talked about my brother Paul.
No.
And I asked her one time, I said, didn't Paul have some medals? At least he would have had a Purple Heart. Mm-hmm. And she said, I threw him in the waste paper can. She said, I didn't want nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. So
I can imagine that being pretty rough for a mom.
Yeah. So I, as far as Paul went, I only knew that he was killed the night before, and he was wounded and alive for 2 days, and that was not true. I thought that all through the years.
Okay.
But I found out just this year that isn't really what happened.
So you found all the truth out this year?
This year.
Wow. And how off was, I mean, obviously you've lived your whole life thinking one thing. How off were the stories from what you were told? I mean, obviously you were told he was wounded. Were there other details that you had no idea of?
No, I have the telegrams that the War Department sent to Mom.
Really?
That he was shot one day, wounded, and died the next day.
And that's what you guys lived your life off of all those years?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, war then is much different than it is now. I mean, there's guys that their wives get called, their mothers get called on our battlefields. But I could only imagine the telephone game and just getting word back. I mean, there's probably hundreds of families that never even knew anything. I mean, those guys were just getting obliterated on the beach. So you're 10 years old. So so that was your older brother, and then your younger brother enlists. What was the age gap difference between those two?
I'm going to say maybe 2 years, 3.
So he was right behind him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was. This would have been my brother Robert.
Robert. Yep.
And I think I'm not for sure, but I think Rod, as we called him, he probably went in like. I'm going to guess maybe 48, 49,
Okay.
somewhere like that. And then he spent 22 years in the service, and he joined the 82nd when he first went in, and then he was in Airborne troops the rest of the time that he was in. And he joined when the first Green Berets came out. He joined that.
Really? So he was in the first actual Green Berets?
Yeah, supposedly the first 300.
Really?
And then from there, he kept working his way up. And by the time he retired, he had held every rank from private to major when he retired.
No kidding.
And he went from, I don't know just when he joined the Special Forces.
Okay.
But he retired a major out of the Special Forces.
And how many year gap so he was probably, how many years younger than?
I think he would have been maybe 6 to 7 years older than me.
How old were they when they were joining? Because back then, I mean, they were just children.
I know Paul joined, and he was killed when he was 18.
Okay.
Can you imagine doing that at 17, 18 years old, being out there in those PT boats? And
I mean, there's kids that were probably younger than that.
Yeah.
A lot of them lied.
And see all that going on?
That's when men were men. There's been a lot of changes, from your generation to ours, I could tell you that much.
Yeah. Anyway, so both of them served well.
And he stormed France, or he was in Germany. Did he get any field promotions? I mean, obviously there was a lot going on during his time. Do you know of anything like that, or did he just earn every one of them over time and grade?
I don't know that to be sure.
Okay.
But I know that at the time that he joined the Special Forces, you had to be able to speak 2 foreign languages.
Really?
And he spoke fluently German and Italian.
So that
No, German and Russian.
Oh, okay. Where did he learn Russian? And, I mean, growing up, I mean, you guys were all obviously in Indiana.
That was when he was in his service.
Oh, so he learned it while he was in.
Yeah.
And then he was able to transfer over to Special Forces.
Yeah.
Got it. And so then you come along.
Yeah, I came along, so I thought I better join something, you know.
No Marines for you? So how old were you when you decided to join?
I must have been 19,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Indiana at that time?
It was, I would say, pretty nice looking at what you're doing today.
Yeah? How so?
Well, I grew up without TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I seen the first TV, I was probably 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
But where I grew up, there wasn't anything in the way of hunting. We did a lot of fishing.
Okay.
And hunting consisted of birds and rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any deer back there then.
Really?
No,
So, I mean, it was not even an option.
no.
So then did you grow up on a farm, or was it kind of in a town?
It was in town. We
Okay.
lived kind of out on the edge of town.
Okay.
I could be fishing in 10 minutes.
That's
from the
nice.
house.
And so as far as your father, obviously having 2 sons ahead of him, and then you come along, I mean, was that something, did your dad push for you guys to go, or was it just a calling that all the boys just did on their own?
I don't know about Paul and Rod. I know I did it on my own.
Mm-hmm. And when that time came, what made you want to join?
Seemed like I needed to do something.
Yeah? Sitting around town wasn't doing it for you?
Yeah.
And so you ended up joining and going
Yeah.
82nd Airborne. Did you want to go 82nd, or was this...
That's where I was sent. I
Yeah.
wanted Airborne,
Okay,
so we didn't have a choice about which division we went to.
okay.
Either the 101st or the 82nd.
What was training like back then?
I'm sure it was a lot different than today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy that we were all standing in formation, I'll never forget, we were in T-shirts, iron fatigue pants, starched, and we wore our metal helmets, the old pots that had the chin strap, and that was your daily dress. And so we're all standing in formation, and they put numbers on your hat.
Okay.
And they went by your number. They didn't know your name. They just went by that number.
So this was basic training?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was jump school.
Okay, okay.
And whenever you heard your number, you just automatically fell down and started doing push-ups, you know. And he just called numbers,
Okay.
you know. And he came walking out, stood in front of the group, and he says, turned around real stiff and attention, you know, and he says, "My name's Sergeant Bruce Sett, and I'm the meanest SOB in this post."
That's how he introduced himself?
Yeah.
Did he live up to that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He would get right in your face, you know, and call you just about anything he wanted to call you, and tell you how worthless you were.
Do you remember your helmet number?
270.
I was going to say if you...
No push-ups.
Yeah, no push-ups. I was going to say if you had the meanest son of a gun in there, I'm sure he'd ingrained your number in your head.
And there were a couple guys there were 3 of the boys that decided that they were going to fight him because he would tell you every day, if anybody wants to meet me in a motor pool,
to do it.
I'll be there.
Did they take him up on this?
Yeah.
How'd that go over?
And they didn't look very good next day.
Really? You weren't about to step up to that?
Yeah, he did a number on him.
And that was it for that?
Yeah.
kind of squared everybody away, and then everyone kind of forgot the idea.
It got to be fun before it was over, you know.
How long into it? I mean, obviously there's phases that you don't know during your training time. You know, obviously the first phase is always the worst, and then each
then
phase,
you get to where you're laughing about it.
And then you feel like a human again, and you belong. You're not just a number 270 anymore or anything like that. How long was jump school and all that training to get you ready to go to be
3 weeks.
That's it, that fast? Really? What, as far as jumps, how are they training you and prepping you for jumps at that point?
Well, you did the PLF, was with a parachute landing fall.
Okay.
And you did that by jumping off a 4-foot-high bench.
Knees together, feet together type of deal?
You jumped off of there and then did your roll.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the main things you practiced.
Over and over and over again?
Jumping, yeah. And I know that still sticks with me because I fell a couple times, and I've had people say, boy, you just rolled right out of that.
Really? Because there's a science to it.
Oh, yeah.
So so after you get prepped and they got everything ready to rock and roll and you're, I guess, qualified to start doing your first jump, what was your first actual jump like?
I remember I said to my buddy who was sleeping in a cot next to me, we jumped out of the 119 boxcars. I don't know if you knew what those were. They were the plane that had two, I guess you'd call them fuselages that come down.
Okay.
And then the body hung down underneath of it.
Okay, yeah.
And God, they were terrible airplane, really.
Really?
I mean, when you were told you were scheduled for a jump, the first thing you wanted to know was, how long do I have to ride?
Okay.
You know,
just a rough flight.
Just get up and get out.
Okay.
You know? But it was funny. You know, there's no insulation in these planes. Mm-hmm. None. It's just bare open. And down each side there were canvas seats for 20 on each side.
Okay.
And so there was 40 jumpers in the plane. And they get down at the end of the runway and they'd start revving those engines up and you'd start bouncing. You know, and then they'd kick the brake off and everybody would
just squish to the back.
You're trying to hold your feet up because it's vibrating so bad. And anyway, when they opened the doors, when we got up and they opened the doors, and you could see out by looking back. And I said to my buddy, I said, what the hell have we done now?
So you're going out the tail of the plane, not out the side?
What's outside?
Okay.
Right at the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is all static line, correct?
Yeah. And then you get the full prop blast.
Oh, so because the props are in front of you.
And I never understood. We do 30-foot high jumps off of a tower.
Okay.
And there'd be a guy sitting down there that would grade you on going out the door, how you stood in the door after you jumped, how you put your hands on the reserve and keep your feet together and keep your eyes open. There's no way that you could keep your eyes open in 140-mile blast. It just don't happen. You know?
Yeah.
Because you could feel your nose just flowing over the side of your face.
And it's a pretty violent, I would imagine back then, I mean, technology's changed some, I would imagine, with the static line jumps. But then, I mean, you guys are, I don't want to say pioneering it, but it's still fairly new. So it's not very comfortable. I mean, do you remember the harnesses and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course, you know, you're all bundled up. You got a rifle strapped to your leg. So this leg's stiff, you know. And if the wind's blowing, and we had those big chutes, you know, if the wind's blowing, that whole chute above you will just come over and lay on the ground, you know, and still be full. And you're like this, you know, trying to stop. And when you get a break, you got to try to get up. You got that leg with a rifle on it, and you got to run around and collapse one corner of the chute to collapse the air.
So you couldn't unhook them then?
No.
You're
on your
committed.
belly.
You're committed, yeah.
Yeah. You're just trying to get her to stop.
So if you have a good ground wind, I mean, you're just going for a ride.
Yeah.
How often did you ever have that happen to you?
Once or twice.
Yeah. Pretty adventurous, I would imagine.
Yeah.
What was your first jump like? I mean, was it kind of scary, or were you ready for it? I mean, you're a young guy at this point. I mean, were you looking forward to it, or?
You're scared.
Okay.
And then you got you're jumping with guys that have been used to jumping. You're kind of a mixed bunch. Mm-hmm. So when you come out of that plane, if you're back past the 10th guy, you're actually running to the door to keep up with the guy in front of you. I mean, it takes you out of there just like that.
So there's no to the door, they grab it, and then there's no pause. They're just as fast as you can go. There. So the last guy, 40th guy's
he's in a run. He's in a run.
So he's diving out of that plane just about. Well, were you ever in the back, or were you pretty lucky to be in the front?
I don't think I don't know. I don't remember.
You remember your first landing?
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
Well, I was going to tell you, when you're all sitting around, the 20 of you, and maybe there'll be half of the 40 men who are experienced jumpers. Well, here you are, you're not experienced at all, and you're sitting there, and you got guys coming by, grabbing your backpack, saying, "No, that don't look right." They said, "I think you're going to die this time." Well, hell, time you get in a plane, your
nerves are a little worked up. Then you found out soon that they were just messing with you.
Yeah, you're going to die today.
That's comforting right before you jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
I guess that's tradition, though. I mean, that's what makes the military.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie and the bonding within units is just completely messing with each other 24/7.
Yeah, I've said, you do what your buddy does.
Yep. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
So after jump school, I mean, what were you off to then?
I spent the whole time right there at Fort Bragg.
Really?
The only way that I would have got out of Fort Bragg would have been if the whole division went.
Okay.
Because they called the 82nd, after the Second World War, they named the 82nd Airborne the Guard of Honor for the United States. So they didn't go anywhere unless it was to
do anything stateside.
Yeah.
So after you read your time out in the military, that's when
home.
You went back to Indiana?
Yeah, and then I had spent 2 years as an apprentice bricklayer.
Okay.
My father was a bricklayer, and he was dad. I was the fifth generation bricklayer in
my
family.
Really?
So when I got out of high school, there wasn't any doubt about what I was going to do for a living. I was going to lay brick, you know. So anyway, I was working there in Indiana on a telephone building. It was colder than hell, wintertime. We didn't have the shoes or the clothes that they have now.
Yeah.
We didn't know what an insulated shoe was or anything.
You're just wearing leather boots.
Yeah. And it was colder than hell, and I called the boss over and I said, could you get my money? And he said, well, why do you want to quit? I said, well, I'm going to Arizona.
Just like that.
And he said, when did you decide that? And I said, about 15 minutes ago.
That was it. How'd your dad take that?
He just.
He didn't care?
Well, I was a little rowdy. I can remember one time I drove up to the job, and we always had a little shanty that we kept our tools in and changed our clothes. And I come riding up to the front of that shanty, and I was in the back end of a big Buick convertible, and a couple girls, and I jumped out of that and run in the shed, just about time to go to work, and had dress clothes on. And my dad was sitting there. I could still picture, and had his hands like this, and he looked up at me and he said, "You're never going to make it," you know. And I said, "Yeah, I
am." You watch. So you're the rebellious one of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably was.
So after that light bulb went off in your head that you were done with this freezing winter laying brick, how long until you picked up and headed south?
Well, I was gone the next day.
Really?
Yeah.
That quick, huh?
Yeah. And I hitchhiked. I was going to I didn't have a car, so I hitchhiked.
Just going to ask how you got from Indiana to Arizona.
And I was in, I think, St. Louis. And some guy pulled over, stopped his car in front of me and got out and come back. And he said, "How would you like to go to California, drive a car, and pull a car behind you?" And I thought, well, hell, California is a hell of a lot closer than St. Louis, Missouri. Mm-hmm. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I started driving that car, pulling one, following him.
Really?
And we got down in Texas or someplace, but it was colder than hell. And I started the car up to get warm, and he came back and got out of his car and walked back, and he said, "I don't have the money for you to be running the car." And I said, "Well, I was just trying to get warm." And he said, "Well, I can't afford for you to run the car." And I said, "Okay." So then I thought to myself, I've almost fulfilled my obligation.
Mm-hmm. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Close enough.
So when we got into Arizona and got in Flagstaff, from Flagstaff, Arizona to Tucson, Arizona, is a straight shot. So I flipped my lights on and off and pulled over, and he come back, and I've started to get my bag out of the back seat, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm quitting." He said, "Well," he said.
See, you used him to get to Flagstaff, and you're just out at that point.
Yeah, I just quit. So I remember walking down the road in the mountains on black asphalt.
This is the first time being out there.
Yeah, and I had a knife with me. So I'm walking down the highway with that knife out because I've heard about these bears and lions and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And you can't hardly see your hand in front of your face. But I got picked up and got a ride down to Tucson.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was it?
Yeah. Then I went to my sister's. I had a sister that lived there.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, that you had family there.
And I had basic tools in this bag I carried. So then I went to work. And
what were you doing there? Did you just pick back up on bricklaying, huh? How long did you do that for down there?
Well, let's see. I wasn't down there more than a year. I don't think. And I was in between jobs, and I always liked being around horses, although I didn't know much about horses. Mm-hmm. And so I went down to this big stables and rode horses a couple of times, and I met a guy there that I kind of started running around with, and I was learning how to ride horses and do just about everything you had to do around them. Mm-hmm. And we were messing around one day, and he said to me, he says, "I want to take you over to a guy's house for you to meet." And I said, "All right." So we went over to Dale Lee's house.
The legend.
And that's the first time that I met Dale.
Okay.
And Wayne, this fellow I was with, he had worked for Dale on the Ladder Ranch over in New Mexico and helped him hunt and run his dogs one year. That's how he knew Dale.
Because Dale's a legend houndsman.
Yeah.
And so you're getting just tossed into this whole new world.
So I was just standing there. I met Dale, and then we're standing there talking. And Dale said to him, "Wayne," he said, "how'd you like to go to Mexico with me for 5 months, hunt jaguar, help me with the dogs?" And Wayne said, "Well, I'll go." if you'll take George. Dale said, "You want to go?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go."
Just like that.
Yeah.
To go hunt jaguars.
Yeah.
Down in Texas.
Yeah. Old Mexico.
Old Mexico.
1,000 miles south.
So you just pack up with these guys
Yeah.
and off you go down to Old Mexico to experience jaguar hunting.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into this, because this doesn't happen anymore. These days are long gone. So you make the 1,000-mile trek down to Old Mexico with a trailer full of horses and a bunch of hounds.
No animals.
No animals?
No horses.
So you just went down, loaded up the hounds in the box, and off you went.
Yeah, we had about 20 hounds.
Okay.
Then we had a dog.
That's a good pack.
We had a dog trailer, and it was pulled by one pickup. And then Dale and them pulled a pickup with 2 boats on that trailer.
Okay.
And that was it.
And off you went.
And off we went.
What the hell was that like?
I think it took us about 3 days to get to where
there.
we're going. And we went first to the main town that we stopped at was named Tuxpan.
Okay.
Tuxpan. And then from Tuxpan, we went out toward the swamp through a little town named Pericos.
Pericos.
And Pericos just had little huts, and people had dirt floors. And
is this all a culture shock? Like, I mean, you're from Indiana to Arizona. Now you're in this little villages in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like? I mean, you're experiencing the culture, the foods, everything.
Yeah. It became tortillas and beans for a while.
I can imagine.
But you don't think about it. You're just having, you're having a good time, wondering what's going on,
learning.
And so we'd exercise the dogs from camp. Camp was this big body of water that we hunted around called the Agua Brava. And the reason they called that was because when the wind blew, it would get really, really rough and just roll.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you went across the Agua Brava, you stopped when you first got out on it and looked to see if there was any wind.
Oh, so because it got pretty rough out there.
It got real rough, and then I think it was either the year before I joined up with Dale that the last hunt of the year, they had a Jaguar in the boat that they had got for the client.
Mm-hmm.
And these boats were 16 foot long. No, 12 foot long. They were 12 foot long and about 4 foot wide, flat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we hauled the dogs in one boat. Usually we'd always have those 2 boats. The client and Dale and one of us guys would be running the motors. And then in the back boat, there'd be 2 natives with the dogs.
Okay.
And anyway, we would set up a fly camp where we called it a fly camp, where we just put up tarps over our kitchen area, we called it. And the kitchen area had, the natives would make legs out of limbs, and we'd had a top on a piece of masonite, I think it was.
Okay.
And that was the kitchen table. There was no luxuries on this hunt, like you see.
Oh, yeah.
This
is straight rugged.
This is rugged.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the sleeping area with cots and mosquito nets.
How remote were you guys when you were on this lake? I mean, what year is this?
I got down there in the winter of '58.
So, I mean, you could be days from anything, pretty much.
There was Pericos, which was only about 3 or 4 miles.
Oh, okay.
And then the big town was probably 20 miles.
Oh, okay. So you're not super remote, but you're enough. No, you get caught out on that lake, though, you're done.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever experience anything pretty rough?
I did.
Yeah?
I did experience.
How was that?
We had set up a camp way out in the swamp, and I went to what we called main camp to get supplies and take back to our fly camp. And so I had the boat loaded, and I was coming back, and I looked out on the lake, and it looked pretty calm. So I started across, and the wind came up. I don't know how high the waves got, but I knew that I would go up, and then I'd just come down and say, bam.
On that flat bottom boat, yep.
And the waves, when I had bam, the waves were up here, you know.
So you guys are crossing like the center of the, I mean, you're crossing the lake. You're not just like kitty cornering to go to your camp. So you're crossing the lake.
Crossing the lake.
Okay.
I got to go down at the other end.
Okay.
That's where and about halfway there was a point that came out from the other side of the swamp that came out into the lake. Maybe halfway, and I thought if I can make it to that point, then I'll just stay right there all night,
or hug the shore.
The storm quits. And so I had two 15-horse Evinrudes on this. I had both of them running, and I was facing them, you know.
So you're individually steering both of them? They're not connected?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the goddamn, it's a bang.
And you're facing technically backwards, trying to look over your shoulder, steering this boat.
Yeah. Finally, I made it to this point. And so I tied up the boat, and there had at one time been some pretty good trees because there was some stumps that was like this. Mm-hmm. So I got on one of them stumps, and I sat there till daylight.
Really?
Till the storm quit.
What do you mean by one of the stumps out in the water? On one of the you sat on a stump in the water all night?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, it wasn't the best of accommodations, I can tell you that. But anyway.
That had to have been miserable.
Yeah. But I sat there, and then before I left, here comes Dale and them in the other boat from camp, because they're just pretty sure that I didn't make it, you know.
So they're looking for you.
Yeah. But I surprised them. I was still going.
Surprised yourself, probably, too. So you're solo, so if something would have happened, I mean, you're on your own out there.
Oh, that'd been it.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't have life jackets or anything.
Nothing. So when it came to these clients, you're the new guy in camp, or the youngest, I should say. What was your role and position? Were you running dogs, feeding dogs, and all that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was that? Learning, I mean, because you're learning hounds, and each one of them has their own personality, and, you know.
Oh, yeah. You could get to know those hounds. Now, like, in the fall of the year, we would be up in northern Arizona at Dale's brother's ranch. And we had a fly camp there. They had one small building that was for he and his wife. And we slept out on a cot with a tent, with the tarps.
Okay.
And there'd be like maybe 35 to 40 hounds tied out in the canyon where we were sleeping. And if one dog barked, one of us would say, "Wonder what's wrong with Speck?"
So you knew each dog by their bark?
You knew by the bark what dog it was. You got to where you even got to where on the race, say you're on the race with the Jaguar, you could tell which dog was in front.
Really?
You know.
Were you turning all your hounds out at once, or were you cycling them out?
No. The way we hunted those, with those two boats, we would take the client, we'd leave camp about 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Really?
So we'd try to get a little sleep. Then we'd leave about 10, 11 o'clock, usually from a fishing station.
Okay.
Now, the fishing stations were built by the fishermen.
What's a fishing station?
It was built out of bamboo, and it would be a ramp, and it would go up, and they would build a square all out of small trees.
Okay.
And that would be the sleeping quarters for the fishermen.
Is this floating out in the lake?
No, this is up on the shore.
Okay.
And that would be their sleeping station.
Okay.
Because there were fishermen on the lake.
That would stay out there?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fishing base camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we would stay there, and then we'd pull out of there at 11 o'clock at night, and normally there'd be me. I picked up pretty quick on how to maneuver those boats with, once the engine shut off, and you want to go along in the boat being real quiet, and you have what they called a palanca stick, which is about, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 feet long. And you just push the boat along.
Along the shore?
Yeah,
So with it being flat bottom, you're right along the shore.
yeah,
Would you pull the motors out of the water and just
Yeah.
pull yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
and we'd pull and be real quiet. And we had a gourd that was made to call and imitate the jaguar.
Really?
I mean, you can call other animals. They do it for rabbits and different coyotes and.
What type of noise is this gourd making?
I meant to bring it. I forgot.
Oh, you have one?
Oh yeah.
Really?
They're about maybe a foot in diameter, and maybe 8, 9 inches high.
Is this something that's grown local there?
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's just you can get it. I bought one here a while back. They had a gourd show,
Yeah.
and I bought one that I'm going to make another one. I've got about 3, but I don't have the hide. What you do is you take and hollow them out to where they're dried out,
Okay.
and then in the top you cut depending on the size of the gourd, you cut a hole that you get your hand in and out of comfortable.
Okay.
And then on the bottom of it, you cut a larger hole, and you stretch hide across there.
What type of hide? Any?
Goat hide works really
Okay.
well.
Dried, or is it you putting it on soft and letting it dry?
Well, you put it on wet, and then let it dry out.
Okay.
And then it gets real tight. Then you put a hole in the middle of that hide, and you take a braided horsehair, and Pagey's real good at braiding for me.
Okay.
You braid a horsehair string, and you put it through that hole, and then you take beeswax and rosin, and you put on the string, and then when you pull on that string, you can imitate the sound of a jaguar.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard this.
And
How often does this work? I mean, is it
it works. It works for male and female.
okay?
You don't know what's coming when you get them,
Okay.
coming. But usually they don't growl. Jaguars don't growl. They grunt.
Okay.
And they'll make, just about all of them make the same type call.
What type of grunt? Can you imitate it?
Yeah.
Is it deep?
Yeah, it's a deep, and it usually, you want me to make the sound?
I would love to hear it.
Okay, usually they'll go, oh, 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 oh.
And that's when they're close?
Yeah.
Now,
Well, you can hear them in the swamp. You can hear them as much as, we gauged one time that I had a client and Dale had a client, and both of us were calling. So we knew where each other was. And we figured we were 5 miles apart, and we could hear each other in that swamp.
really? I mean, sound travels so far on water.
Yeah.
But that swamp and being in the woods and just how thick it was, it didn't dampen any of the noise at all?
No.
Really?
In that swamp, if you were able to climb a tree, none of the trees were more than, I'm going to say 12 to 15 feet high.
Okay.
And if you got up in a tree where you could see to the horizon, it'd be just like all those trees were the same size.
So it's flat.
Yeah. And I tried my best, and I'm pretty good at finding out where I am in no directions, out in the swamp or the forest, either one. If you're out enough, spend enough time out. Dale told me when I went to work for him, he said, George, he says, if you pay attention to where you are, he said, put camp on your right shoulder. That's where camp is. And you'll get to where you know, wherever you are, out hunting, whatever you're doing, you know camp's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
So the whole time, I mean, you're cognitive enough to like remember. So even when you're on a cat and the excitement's going crazy, you're always thinking, keep camp on my right shoulder.
Trying to. But very hard in that swamp.
I could imagine.
There's one old native. I would ask him where the boats were.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 10, 15 times a day when we were out. I'd say, are the boats right over there? And most of the time he'd go.
Really? So what type of swamp are we talking? Is there a lot of dry land in this swamp, or is it just swamp? Because what's a I mean, I feel like jaguars, they're not going to want to be wet all the time, or is it pretty moist in this place?
They're pretty much wet all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And where the swamp was, it was just inland from the ocean, and the water that was in the lake was brackish.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't real strong, but it was brackish. And I remember you couldn't hardly tell where the water came into that lake. You know, there wasn't no river off of the ocean.
It
was
groundwater?
It was there.
Okay.
You know. And most of the time you were in brush and those small trees.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't see most of the time more than about 15 feet.
So when you're calling these jaguars, what was it like when you heard your first one?
I was pretty excited, really.
Yeah. Did you know exactly what it was, or did you have to get like confirmation, like, is that one?
Oh, no, you knew what it was.
It was that.
But, you know, you take me, I grew up in Indiana. The only thing I've ever hunted is birds and rabbits.
Okay.
You
Now you're in the swamps in Mexico calling jaguars.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, but anyway, the one native that really run the dogs, Felice, he had hunted with Dale many years before. And he was the only native that Dale let carry a gun. No, none of the others native.
Why is that? Just trust-wise?
Yeah. He knew him well enough that
Okay. Didn't want to get shot in the back?
But, yeah. Because he had a brother, Dale had a brother that did get shot.
Really?
In the back of a lion tree.
Really? I mean, it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I say it kind of jokingly, but I mean, it still happens to this day, especially
Yeah.
clients trip and just aren't paying attention.
Yeah, we didn't let him carry a gun with even the client. Client didn't get to carry a gun.
So you're carrying it for him, get to the tree and hand it to him?
We get it to him, have it, load it for him, and hand it to him.
Okay. So when you first jaguar experience, what was that like?
Exciting, you know. You know, you got this Phyllis that run the hounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about chasing a pack of hounds in the swamp, you know, your limbs on the ground 3 feet high, and you're going over stuff and staying within distance of the hounds, because you don't have any other way of knowing where their hounds, where you got to keep them in hearing.
You have no GPS trackers, nothing.
None of that.
Did you?
I could get into that later if you want.
I would love to, but so I didn't even think of any of this while you're explaining this. You're just going off of sound and no sight, because I mean, obviously, as soon as you cut them dogs loose, they're gone.
All you got to go by is sound.
So thank God you are on the water, and you can kind of pick those hounds up for quite a distance. Because I mean, I'm trying to relate that to running mountain lions here, and they cross over into another ravine, they're gone. You're 100% relying on GPS nowadays.
I've chased hounds in a mountain afoot. At one time.
Really?
I was pretty legged up.
Damn.
Once you come out of that swamp,
Mm-hmm.
and in a swamp you may be up to your knees in water and mud.
Mm-hmm.
You may be up to your chest going through. You know.
Did you ever come across, is there any crocs or alligators or anything in there?
No,
Nothing? So
there's alligators there, but very few.
Okay.
I only seen one 10-foot alligator. But the little ones, like this,
yeah.
a lot of those.
You only had one 10-foot alligator and you grew up to your chest in water?
Yeah, but the ones that are about this long, you'd see, if you're at night, shine a light on the water.
Those red eyes.
You can see the eyes, So Wayne, he would get in the front of the boat. This is where we're playing around. He'd get in the front of the boat, and I didn't do this. But I'd drive the boat, and he would go along, and he'd take and grab him out of the water, hold him up.
Toss him back
I
in.
didn't do that.
No, you weren't in on that one.
No.
So you cut out on your first. Okay, so you're calling these jaguars. Are you waiting for them to come to call back, or are you? Or, I mean, okay, so that's the only time you're letting hounds out, or will the hounds cut any sense or anything like that?
No, you can't. The reason why we called the jaguars was like if the boat is sitting where I am, this direction, and a jaguar answers toward from the direction you're sitting, you call for the purpose of getting the jaguar to come to you, and you're still in the boats.
Being super quiet.
With the client. And the boat with the dogs are maybe 100, 200 yards back behind you.
Okay.
And you're just pulling along.
And just pulling the string as you do
And
it.
the guy's calling. With maybe 5 minutes in between.
Okay.
And one night we were pulling along like that. And I asked this native, I said, kind of laid down, and I said, "Where's the flats?" And the flats were in the swamp. There would be flats, maybe like a road, width of a road would go out through the swamp a ways, and then they'd go through brush, and it'd open up into a sandy flat again.
Okay.
And if we didn't get a call, we would walk those sandy flats, because you couldn't take your client normally. They're professional men. They're men that have some money. They're office people or they're business people. They're not
built for this.
They're not built.
They never are.
Not to go through that swamp. So we tried to get the jaguar as close to us as we could get him. And we knew where he came from. We didn't know where he went after he discovered us.
Okay.
And we'd never know when he discovered us. Maybe sometimes you'd hear him and he was a little ways off, and then you wouldn't hear anything for a while, and then they'd open up and maybe it's like he's only 50 feet from you.
Really?
And it's like, whoa, he's here. And then we'd get out of the boat and figure out which way he went after we last heard him.
How would you figure that out in the swamps?
By watching. There's ground.
Okay.
There's ground.
So you're looking for tracks, and is this after you're doing this at night?
Yeah.
What are you using to light up?
Well, you don't do this till daytime.
Okay.
When you get out of the boat.
Okay.
But we like that particular one, when he shined his light, one started running in the water not more than 10 feet from the boat.
Oh, so it was coming to you.
So how long it had been with us, we didn't know. But the next morning, after we stopped right there, I leaned down and shook Dale, and he only heard about a couple leaps in the water. And there was a patch of mud sticking up out of the water, and on that mud you could see where he come out of the water, hit that mud with a couple feet, and then jumped again. And that was when we didn't hear him, was when he was on that little mound of mud. But he wasn't 10 feet from the boat.
Really?
And
jaguars, I feel like they're so meaner than a regular, like our mountain lions.
Oh, yeah.
Like they play for keeps, and when they're after you, they got you.
They're
a killing machine. I mean, I feel like our mountain lions are built, and they're an absolute top predator, but I feel a jaguar is the next tier up from them.
Oh, yeah, there's no comparison. Now, I've rode right up under a tree with a lion, and not bothered me a bit looking up, or just like we do bear hunting or whatever. But you sneak up on a jaguar. Usually Phyllis and I would be the first two to the tree.
Okay.
And I've stood, before they tree, they'll start circling.
Is that how you know it's coming?
Yeah, and I've been in that circle.
Okay.
And actually see the dog, see the jaguar. They're no more than 25 feet from you.
Passing by.
And they're making a circle, and you're turning around watching them, before they go up.
Is the cat just looking for the right tree and knows pressures on it, or is that
You don't know. Maybe the dogs have got him aggravated enough that he'll go up a tree, or. But the funny thing is that jaguar may be in a little trot, and back behind him is 10 dogs, and they're in a trot. And it's like they're so far apart and nobody's gaining on each other,
The cat just keeps them right at that distance.
They're thinking, well, you're going to go up a tree, They don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
They've been through that,
So I watched a video once, I want to say it was a Jim Shockey video, where they were tagging or studying jaguars down in South America. And they had this jaguar tree. It was a big tom, they were guessing. And as they're running, they're passing hounds that are just dead. I guess this jaguar was just turning around and it would just crush these dogs. And obviously somebody can pull the video and find this, but there was several hounds. And you could see the houndsmen, his hounds, the cameraman just running and filming these dead dogs as they're trying to get to the tree. And they're like, we have to get our dogs out of here. Because this was a big time. Did you ever experience anything like that, or were your dogs super trained and just knew better?
I think after they got one, sometimes jaguars will bay on the ground, just like a lion will.
Okay.
But when you can't see no more than 15 feet, and you got a jaguar on the ground with 10 hounds on the ground, it's exciting.
I can imagine things get western real quick.
I mean, you could almost feel the hair on your neck, But I've seen dogs come by me doing cartwheels.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
Jaguar just tossing them.
Yeah.
What was it like the very first jaguar that you saw? Because they're such a beautiful animal.
Going through that swamp, you could look at your hounds at the tree, and most of the time they would be so much mud on the dogs you couldn't hardly tell one from the other.
Okay.
Jaguars in the tree, spotless.
Really?
They never were dirty.
I've always wondered that, because you see the pictures, though, especially the old school pictures of them in those tent camps and things like that, and they're always, I've always wondered that.
I don't know how, they're short haired just like the dogs.
Yeah.
But they don't
spotless.
have any, and they got to go the same way the dogs went.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because a lot of times the dogs are going along in the water, and the only way they can get the scent is off of what's hanging down.
Oh, just branches and
leaves?
leaves?
Yeah, branches. They'll have their head up and they're hitting the branches.
That's interesting.
They're not smelling it because they can't.
So, I mean...
But when jaguars run, they kind of hold their tail up.
Okay, so it's whacking on everything?
Yeah, it's kind of curled toward their head a little bit. And a lion don't do that.
I guess you're right, huh? I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
And so is that catching on a lot of stuff, and that's kind of the indicator for those dogs?
Yeah.
Interesting. Is there a client or a hunt that stands out to you above all of them that you were was absolute complete chaos?
There were a couple times that getting back to the client, how most of them are business people.
Yeah.
The hardest thing with the client was getting him to the
tree. Always. That's always the biggest problem. Nothing's changed there.
And we had this fellow, his name was Fox Burns, and he owned a cardboard factory in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Okay.
And in fact, he wrote a story that was in Outdoor Life magazine about this particular hunt. But anyway, the dogs hit this track, and it was a female and a kitten.
Okay.
And Fox Burns, we'd had him in the swamp walking before, and he said, "You boys go ahead and get it for me." He said, I don't want any part of that swamp again.
Really?
So that was really fun for us.
Because you didn't have a client. Now it's
Didn't
you
have
guys.
a client, and then the bets would be down, you know. Who's going to kill this?
Okay.
Who's going to get to the tree first, you know? So then we'd take off, you know. And so that particular kitten, which was, I'd have said he'd weighed 70 pounds,
Okay.
something like that. Anyway, the dogs caught him first, and bang, it was over for the kitten.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Yep.
And we're standing there with the dogs, watching the dogs, and letting the dogs chew on him. And Dale says, listen, you know, we quieted everything down, and we could hear a dog running. It's after that female.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the dogs then, as soon as they heard this other dog,
Off they went.
Off they go. You
Yep.
know? And they're packing to that other dog. And Phyllis and I got to the tree first, and I'm just kind of looking at it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't quite ready to shoot it. I was just kind of watching it. And all at once, bang, Dale's over here, and he shoots it, you know.
Took it out from underneath
I
you.
had no idea he would be there.
Yeah. So when back then, I mean, are you guys killing everything that you treat, or were you trying to just find big toms, or was it just a go? Everything was a green light.
What, it was green light on India.
Was it, so for every client, what was the density of jaguars down there? I mean, was it pretty common, the turnout, or when you did, it was like, okay, finally, this is happening?
I remember one year, there was 14 jaguars taken out of there that year. And there was 8 hunting camps down there, hunting.
Really?
Let's see, there was 7 of those camps had caught, I think, 2 jaguars.
So how many clients are you running out of there?
We had caught the rest. We had caught like 12, and they caught 2.
Oh, okay. What separated you guys from the rest of the camps?
Knowing how to do it.
Really? Just experience?
Yeah.
Really? Was there ever a big tom that you got that stood out above the rest?
I remember we got on a track, and this track was the biggest ball we'd ever seen.
Really?
You know, and we thought we're after a big tom. It was a female.
Really? Big female?
Yeah.
Did you guys end up catching her?
Huh?
You end up catching her?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he knew it was a female, so I could have answered that one.
Yeah. But, you know how a lion will go along and they'll pee on, just like a dog?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they take their 2 hind feet.
Make scrapes, yeah.
And, of course, you're in that swamp. I don't know if a jaguar does that or not. And I don't know if I ever discussed that with Dale. But it was
quite the experience, huh?
Yeah.
How many years were you down in there doing that? Or how many seasons, I should say?
2, 3.
Yeah? So, I mean, out of those 3 seasons, how many jaguars do you think you guys killed?
I seen 25.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
We caught 25.
Did you ever have
Dale said he caught 120-some in his life.
That's a good number. Did you ever have any clients get chewed on? Or anybody ever get attacked? Really?
No, I never, other than being on the ground. I seen Wayne, that I told you that introduced me to Dale. Yeah. I seen him run in on a jaguar on the ground. And this jaguar was on its back. They'll get down, they'll lay on her back and fight. And he ran in and stuck a barrel in that jaguar's mouth.
Really?
And you could hear the clack, clack, clack.
Before he let one off, huh?
Yeah.
No thanks. No thanks. So after you guys were done, so were you running them in seasons, or were you down there the whole time?
Oh, just seasons.
So in the off season of jaguar hunting, what were you doing then?
The first year that I came out of the swamp with Dale, of course, I hadn't hunted any mountain lion then.
Mm-hmm.
We came back to the States, and we went up in the mountains, in the Santa Rita Mountains, which was about 50 miles south of Tucson, towards Nogales in
Okay.
Old Mexico.
Yep.
Went up in the Santa Ritas, and there was a freshwater spring that was there, and that's where we picked to stay with the dogs and 2 mules. And there was an old adobe shack there, and the old adobe shack was maybe 16 foot long, 8 foot wide, and had an old fireplace in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt floor, no doors.
Really?
And so that's where I stayed all summer.
Really?
Yeah, there at that spring, and the dogs and the two mules.
Really?
And I'd get up every day and take the dogs and make a circle. And I got familiar with a Mexican family that ranched down at the bottom of the hill from where I was.
Okay.
And I got to be quite friendly with him. And I'd go with him and feed the cows and stuff. And I told him, I went down one day and I said, his name was Alfredo. And I said, Alfredo, I've run a lion 2 or 3 times, but it was in like June or July. And it was hot, real hot. And I said, I've run him 2 or 3 times, but the track just dissipates. It's just too hot. Dogs can't smell him. And so Alfredo said, well, why don't I come up in the morning and I'll be at your camp before daylight, and we'll hit the top of the divide and see if he's up there. He says we'll get a good shot at him because he's high and early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we no sooner hit that ridge, and I seen this particular dog named Drifter. He run over and put his nose in a scratch. And so I knew it was fresh. He opened right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the scratch was headed in that direction, I'll say. So that Drifter starts off in that direction, so I know he's going the right direction. So he takes off, and I let the rest of the dogs pack to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had five or six.
Are they just trailing you just running with you?
They're
on the
right
mule?
behind you.
Okay.
They stay behind you.
Got it.
And that's where they are all the time. I have rode right down a city street
And all those dogs
with
right
a
behind
lot
you.
of traffic on a mule with 8 or 9 hounds behind me and traffic going by. And I never worried. I know they're right there.
How? Just over time? I mean,
Over time, and if you get a dog that at first doesn't know how you do it,
mm-hmm.
you take and neck them to another dog
Oh,
that knows
okay.
how it's supposed to be done.
How long does that take before it clicks on a hound? Because hounds could be pretty stubborn.
Not very long.
Really?
A day.
Really? That's it, huh?
You don't take very long.
Then they know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's other ways of them knowing too, but that takes a little energy.
Okay.
I'd say. But the dogs took off, and in that magazine, that's what that first lion, the story it is about. And so we're in a gallop after the dogs, and they're going, they're
mm-hmm.
running hard. So we know we're going to catch that lion. They're on a good track. And so pretty soon we come up over a ridge, and we could hear the dogs barking tree.
Mm-hmm.
So we rode down to above the dogs, tied the animals up, and walked down. And the 5 dogs are in front of this lion, and the lion had treed in an old mesquite that it was more like a brush than a tree that stuck out, and he was just sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
You know, and the dogs aren't more than 6 feet from him. You know.
So he's right there.
He's right there. And so we sat there and watched him. And so Alfredo said to me, he said, you know, George, he said, that lion is sitting on the edge of a bluff. And if we shoot that lion, he's going to fall down the bluff, and we're going to have to go all the way down this canyon and come all the way up the next canyon. So he says, you get down with the dogs. And when I'll get over here as far as I can, and I'll shoot him in the back of the head. And when I do, you grab whatever you can grab hold of. Keep him from falling down there. Now, it may seem pretty wild to most people.
Yeah.
But these guys, when you're with them, these old timers, you do whatever they tell you to do. Because you think they're telling you just like, this is the way this is done and blah, blah, blah.
You don't question it.
You don't question it. And you know, if a bear goes up a tree and he wants to come down, when he gets down so far, stick him in the ass and he'll go back up. So
this is what this guy's telling you to do?
Yeah, so I get down with the lion, and I'm sitting there, and the dogs are on both sides of me, and here he is, you know.
How close? Arm's distance?
6 feet, maybe.
Okay.
And so when Alfredo shoots, it was just like that lion tucked his head.
Yep.
And his ass end come up, and here come his tail, and I grabbed his tail and sat down, and he fell over the bluff, about half of him, and he's quivering dead. And I got a hold of him, and I hollered at Alfredo. I said, get down here and help me. I can't hold him. You know, he's waiting for it. And so Alfredo run down there, and we got him up.
You got it, huh?
We pulled him up.
Really?
So I didn't think anything about that.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, this is SOP. This is just the way it works.
Just how you do it.
And so Alfredo said, George, he said, just take that lion downtown in Patagonia. Patagonia was like, I don't know, 15, 20 miles.
Okay. On horse?
No, in his truck.
Okay.
So we put the lion in the back end of this half-ton, and we go down to the bar, because he said, there'll be some cowboys down there. I know them. And so we went in, and he introduced me to 2 or 3 of these cowboys. And once they found out I was hunting with Dale, then everybody knew Dale down in that country.
Well, I mean, Dale's a legend to this day still. Yeah.
And so it'll be okay, because I know him. And so Alfredo, he's telling the story about how things went. So he tells all about the race and the treeing and how we get down there. And he said, I told George to get down there, and he said, when I shoot him, you grab him. And he said, do you know this kid did that?
And you're sitting there like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Almost went off a bluff for you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Alfredo's like, I can't believe it worked.
Yeah, he'll do.
Okay, so you're living in an adobe hut. What are you eating and everything out there? I mean, how are you surviving out here all summer?
Well, you know, I don't have any way to keep anything cold.
Yeah, that's my thought. So you're 15, 20 miles from town. I mean, are you making a trip every day to go get something, or what are you eating?
A lot of sandwiches. A ring of red and a loaf of bread.
And then you have a well out there, or I mean, are you just okay?
Yeah, there's fresh water.
Yeah, are you out there by yourself in these hounds?
Yeah.
Really?
So I stayed there all summer.
You're just enjoying life, huh?
Oh yeah, I get up every day and ride a mountain. And
you ever go down to Alfredo's and he cook you up some tortillas and beans, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I go down there for dinner.
Okay.
Anyway, stayed there all summer.
Were there big bears out there?
I never run a bear while I was there.
Okay.
And the only lion I ran. And then we went from, Dale come down, we loaded up everything, and we went up to the White Mountains in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We were up on Blue River.
Okay.
Blue River's right on the, almost on the border of New Mexico and Arizona, just above Clifton.
Oh, I know Clifton.
Okay, above Clifton, Blue River comes down.
Okay.
That's where the ranch was that Dale's brother Clell had.
Okay.
And
How many acres are you talking on ranches?
I don't know. I don't even know how many head he run.
Just large enough.
Just large enough. It wasn't a big deal because
Okay.
I helped getting the cattle that fall and bringing them down onto Blue River. And I don't think he didn't have too many cows.
Okay.
You know, maybe 80 to 100, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So not a huge operation, but enough.
Yeah, enough.
And so when you moved up there, besides helping the cattle, are you running up there?
Yeah, we were. We wasn't on Blue River. We were up at Hannigan's Meadow. Do you know where
I don't.
Hannigan's is? At the top of the road. If you went up from Clifton, if you climbed a mountain, you go up into the White Mountains across the Fort Apache Reservation.
And that's where you
There's
guys
some
were?
of the biggest elk up there that there is.
Okay.
And so we went up there, and we were going to stay there till the end of December. And then we go down to Tucson and outfit for Mexico.
So this is just your cycle. And these are the same hounds that you're running. So instead of letting your hounds have an off season, you're just jumping season. You're chasing seasons to keep these hounds fresh.
Yeah, you're going up there running bear and lion.
What was the bears like up there?
They wasn't real big.
No?
I've got a picture of Dale and a couple old cowboys of the world's second largest bear by bow.
Really?
And they're standing and they've got it stretched out on the ground.
And that was up there with you guys?
That was there at Hannigan's
Yeah.
that they caught it. But we just ran lion and bear while we were up there and training the hounds.
And you're all dry ground too a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's
Which is-
all dry ground.
I feel like, from what I know as hounds and having a bunch of buddies that are houndsmen, like any dogs, any of the hounds, I mean, in the houndsman world, those dry dogs, that's what everybody wants, or the dry ground ones that are just, like I said, compared to snow. And then I guess the next above that would be swamps. I mean, if your dogs are running swamps, there's nothing that is probably even slowing those things down.
No.
So those dogs are coming straight from the swamps of Mexico, and you're rolling right up into just anything. I mean, it's probably a breeze for them to get on a track.
Yeah.
Made it a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun to watch the dogs and know the dogs. And speaking of dogs, do you know a houndsman here by the name of Tyler Strickland? He owned the, that rock yard that's just out of Star, Idaho? There's a rock yard.
Okay.
He owned that, and then he sold that.
Okay.
Well, about 5 years ago, I told Marie, I said, I know there's a hound banquet, because I'd seen them advertised, out in Nampa. They're having a banquet. So I said, let's go to that banquet, and maybe I could meet somebody that might know Dale, or I might get to know a houndsman. So we go out there, and I didn't really meet anybody that I really connected with.
Yeah.
And I told Marie, I said, well, let's go. We had dinner. And so on the way out was this fellow, and he says to us, he said, introduced himself, Tyler, and he was some officer in this bank, or that particular hound bunch. And so he says to me, he says, do you have hounds? And I said, not anymore, but I did at one time. I said, when the wife and I got married, I had 18 hounds. And he said, "Where'd you hunt?" And I said, "Down in Arizona with Dale Lee." And he said, "Oh, Jesus Christ." I was instant celebrity.
So he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew all about Dale. He said, "I've read all of his books and seen his movies and everything."
I mean, because he documented so much of
Yeah.
everything he did, which made it very interesting.
Yeah. Dale could tell a story that every year in Tucson, when we were outfitting to go to Mexico, he would put on like a seminar at the university
Really?
and rent an auditorium. And there'd be 400 people there,
Really?
you know, to just listen to Dale. And he had a slideshow that he put on, and then he'd tell stories. And he could tell a story when, if he said he was pulling the branch back, looking, you know, you could almost see yourself raising the branches.
Yeah.
You know, he was really good at it.
And you had no idea. This was all just dumb luck from hitchhiking from
Yeah.
Indiana, and
Yeah.
and you end up with
Yeah.
one of the most legend hound hunters and end up in the swamps of Mexico.
Yeah.
That's
So Tyler, you know, he really got excited about. So then I began to go bear hunting with Tyler, and he lives above Ola.
okay.
He's got I think he's got 600 acres up there, and he's got a shed that he built. It's not just a shed; you would call it a shop, maybe 40 foot wide and 60 foot long. And then one end of it, he's got quarters all fixed up with all the stove, fridge, everything, and you can sleep there. So, and then he's got this operation for the bears. He's got 3 little ponds that he's carved out with his excavator.
Yeah.
And he has a trail camera at each one of those ponds, and it's connected to his computer back at his shop.
Yep.
And he'll get up and get his camera and he's, there's a bear out at waterhole so-and-so.
Really?
You know, and so you
That's nice.
get in the truck and you drive out there and jump the hounds out. It's been about, you got a bear in 15 minutes.
That's nice.
You know?
So when's the last time you got to get out and see some hounds work?
I didn't go this year.
No?
Did I go with Ransom?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We went with Ransom.
Yeah,
Took
yeah.
Ransom up there.
Okay.
And we treed one bear, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you're still after it.
Yeah, and so Ransom got to walk down at the tree and see the bear. And,
Yep.
and was a female. And when I first seen her, I said she didn't want to stay up there, you know. And she had 2 cubs.
Mm-hmm.
And they were above her. And she come down within 10 feet of the ground, Ransom.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I mean,
She telling the-
she was mad, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine jaws clapping, and she's ready to chew something up.
And so she finally come off of that tree and ran down, wasn't too far, and went up another tree and left the cubs up the first tree. So we just watched her a while and then left, you know. We'd never shoot it.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially bears. That's why I love bears. We kill a lot of bears in the family, but it's just fun watching bears. They have a crazy personality, and they're just fun. They're
Yeah. Well, maybe next season you can come up. I'll talk to Tyler. Maybe you can come up with Ransom.
Yep. Just to watch.
Ransom, I think's got a pretty good relationship started with him.
Yeah, that's good.
And so we do have a bear hunter.
Yep. Oh. Bears, we are a bear killing family for sure. Yeah, we like our bears. We're very picky. I mean, you see the reds.
You've never had the opportunity.
I've never had the opportunity. I pulled on a mountain lion tail, but I've never on a bear before.
Well, try it, but be careful when you do it, because you're liable to get something.
Have you ever?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they told you to?
And it works.
Really?
Yeah.
You poked a bear in the butt?
Yes.
Let me hear the story.
Yeah.
What was the first time? I mean, was it a decent-sized bear, or was it...
Well, we were up in the White Mountains, and we had this guy and his wife for clients, and they were from New York.
Okay.
So we were muleback, Dale and I, and they were horseback. So as we're going up the canyon, the dogs take off on a good track.
Mm-hmm.
They are acting like we were afraid they might be running a bear, and bear season wasn't in.
Got it.
So Dale says to this guy and his wife, he says, you get off here and just stay here, and George and I will go after the dogs, and one of us will come back and get you once they've treed. Because we didn't know if they were running a bear or running a deer, because it sounds just about alike.
What makes the difference between a bear, a deer, and a mountain lion? Like, how do you tell the difference?
Can't tell.
Okay.
Can't tell.
So it's not like a speed or how fast it's traveling or anything?
You know if they're after a deer or a bear, because they're running to beat hell.
Oh, okay.
Whereas a lion, they might be part of it, might be cold trailing, part of it might be a good track.
Okay.
Remind me, I'll tell you a little story about Dale and a track.
Okay.
But anyway, this particular time, we take off and we get up and we hear the dogs barking tree.
Mm-hmm.
So we go up and there's this bear up the tree. And so Dale says to me, he says, George, get you a stick, keep that bear up the tree and I'll be back. And he wheels his mule around, and the only gun we had was a little .22 pistol.
I was going to ask, what are you guys hunting with?
Yeah, Dale carried on his saddle, and he takes off and goes back. I've never seen a bear.
So this is your first bear?
First bear.
Okay.
I've never seen one, and I'm to get a stick, sharpen it, get down with the dogs, and wait for a bear if it tries to come down to get it back up the tree.
Really?
And so I'm pretty nervous about it.
I can imagine.
Sitting there, and every time he'd lift a paw off a limb, I'd jump up and, and sick the dogs and set back down. And
how long did this go on for?
Oh, hell, it seemed like an eternity. But anyway.
I can imagine all by yourself. I mean, are the hounds just lit up the whole time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and once they'd settle down, I'd get them excited again.
Yeah.
So Dale come back with these two people. And I'm wanting to get Dale off to the side, and they're taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I get Dale off to the side, and I said, Dale, God damn it, I said, I don't know about this stick stuff. And here I am with a stick, and you just turn around, go off, leave me. I'm here by myself. And he apologized to me. And he said, George, I'm sorry. He said, hell, if I'd have thought it made you nervous or anything, I wouldn't have done that. And, well, I said, don't do it again. So, until I find out about it.
Yeah.
And so he apologized for it. And but that was the first bear I seen.
Yeah.
And
then once you realize, I mean, bears they're not as crazy or scary as you think they are. Then it's like an everyday thing, sitting underneath a bear in a tree.
Yeah.
Until they want to come out of that tree and all your dogs are below it, and someone's getting bit, or one of the dogs is getting bit at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them on the ground.
No.
They can tear up a pack of hounds.
Real quick, especially a big boar. I mean, they just back into a tree and they'll just sit there and swat and chew all day.
Yeah.
That's the problem with those hounds. I mean, they're just so...
Though, after they've been on enough animals on the ground, it's almost like they learn to work together.
Okay.
To where when somebody's working on their ass, somebody's working on their head, on the other end.
Yeah.
On their head. And they switch ends, and they can keep an animal turning around.
See, and you guys, I mean, you probably had some of the best hounds in the world at that point, because they never had an off season.
No.
I feel like, I know guys, and they'll run, obviously, once the snow falls, that's when their hounds are getting out. I mean, they start running them in summer. There's a lot of states. I mean, because obviously we're fortunate here to have that chase and pursuit season, and tree, whatever the terminology they use for it. But I mean, obviously it's a chase and no kill season, so you can keep your dogs trained up. But I mean, there's a lot of states that don't allow that. So the only time they're getting out is when the snow falls.
Yeah, you go around, you go to see somebody's hounds, and they're working people, that's got most of them that's got the hounds, unless they're elderly, and have retired.
Yeah.
But the young guys with hounds, they don't get them out. Maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then they'll tell you that's a good hound to us was a hound that would run nothing except what you were after. You wouldn't, they could cross deer tracks, javelina tracks, raccoon tracks, coyote tracks, never run them. If you had a pack of 25 hounds and you're running them every day, every other day, you're switching off.
Yeah.
Dividing them up. If you had 4 hounds out of that bunch of 25 that was capable of doing that, you had them that well trained, you were lucky.
Really?
And you had to hunt them every day to be lucky, to have a dog like that.
Did you have about 5, or did you have how many out of your pack?
Out of 25 hounds, we had about 5.
Yeah, that were just that good?
Yeah.
Which is something to be proud of.
And that was because you got them out
every day,
and you worked them, and you got enough game that they knew what they were doing.
Was javelina hard to turn dogs off of? Because I feel like that is one of the stinkiest, nastiest creatures on the planet. And they're a mean son of a bitch, too.
Yeah.
They tear up some dogs if they got a hold of them.
Yeah. What was worse was the coatimundis.
Okay, I was just going to ask you about that, but I wasn't sure if you were in that area.
Yeah.
They're like a little monkey in a way, like a raccoon monkey. I mean...
They have some good claws on them.
Did you ever come across any of those?
Yeah.
Did you ever kill any?
No.
No? I want one. They're a fascinating little thing, yeah. We had them. We were hunting down the Mexican border, and we had some stuff in the truck, and they got into it, and the little prints were all over our trucks, and they tore all of our trash up. I mean, they're a little son of a bitch. Those little things are. But I've heard of guys talking about those coatimundis that are just they'll tear a hound up.
We got a bunch of them in Mexico on a Jaguar track.
Really?
Run into a bunch of them.
Because they roll in little packs.
Yeah. They tore the hell out of the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you guys carry anything like, when you were down there to repair dogs, or was that not a common thing?
Yeah.
We just needle and thread, or what? Because that was pre-staple guns and all that.
Needle and thread. Took penicillin.
Okay.
Funny story about the penicillin.
Let me hear it.
The young fellows would go to town, and there were girls available in town.
Okay.
And when you get back to camp, you'd take a shot of penicillin.
Clear your system out?
Dale said one day, "You boys got to stay out of that penicillin."
Just running through the supply for dogs. You wanted me to remind you of the story of Dale in a track.
I wasn't there.
Okay.
But, whenever the clients had come, we always had a fire in camp, big ring of fire, that we'd sit around at night. And Dale would tell some of these stories. And I heard these stories over and over.
I bet you that was an incredible time.
But, Dale wrote this book, The Greatest Guide That Ever Lived.
Yep.
You've seen the book. You know how much those books are worth now, according to over $1,000 for one of his books.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got one that's autographed.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I bet you collected some cool stuff over the years.
But anyway, he's telling this story about going along with the clients, and the dogs are working this track, and it's not a real good track, but they're able to cold trail. And cold trailing is fun to watch. It's fun to watch the hound.
What do you consider a cold trail? A day or two old, or what? Okay.
Yeah, day old, depending on how hot it is. If it's rained. But anyway, Dale said they're riding along, and the dogs are cold trailing, and so Dale gets off his mule and gets down on his all fours, and he's smelling the ground, and gets back up and gets in the saddle, and this guy said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I just smelled that track, see how old it was." And he said, this dude said, "How old is it?" And Dale says, "Oh, a couple days." He said, "I don't think they'll be able to catch it." So later, a day or so later, they're hunting, and the dogs are on a track, and this guy says to Dale, he rides up where Dale is, he said, "What are the dogs doing?" He says, "Well, they're trailing a lion. It's a pretty good track." And the guy said, "How old is it?" And Dale said, "Oh, I don't know for sure." And the guy says, "Well, have you smelled it yet?" And but
He thought that's how it was.
Dale was just jockeying,
Yeah, absolutely.
and not thinking about it the next day or so.
I completely already forgot about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because messing with clients is part of the fun of being a guide. I used to catch badgers, and you'd throw them at a client, you get them in a hole or whatever. And, yeah, just tell stories and get these guys fired up. That's half the fun. I feel like of being a hunting guide is just messing with clients, and especially when you're super green and they've never, it's their first time in an area, you could tell them anything and they just eat it up.
Yeah, Dale told us that we had a client from New York.
Oh no!
And he had never shot anything, never hunted anything, but his designer told him that he needed a Jaguar on his wall.
His interior designer?
Yeah, so he come hunting. Never hunted in his life.
Oh, how did this go over? How do you take a guy from New York City that's never experienced anything and you throw him into the swamps of Mexico hunting jaguars?
Well, you couldn't get him. You knew you couldn't get him through the trees.
Okay. Was he a bigger guy or?
Not necessarily, but he was overweight.
Okay.
And so we took him in on one track. We didn't catch the jaguar, but he was in the swamp for 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we got him back to the boats, he was just flat exhausted,
I could imagine.
And so Dale said to the guy, he said, would you mind if we caught one in a trap for you? You wouldn't have to go so far in the swamp. And the guy said, "No, I don't think that would be very exciting." And Dale said, "Oh, it's exciting." So anyway, we put out where these sandy flats run. They'd run different lengths, but maybe be 50 foot wide. And most of them would narrow down to where you'd have brush for maybe 20 feet, and then you're back out on the flat again. So that was the kind of area that we looked for.
It's little pinch points.
So we would actually put brush and make an area to where he had to go through there.
Yep.
And I think they were, seems to me, maybe a number four trap.
Foot trap, yeah.
Yeah, would be what we had.
Okay.
But anyway, we just put a little hole into the ground, put the trap in it, put a piece of tarp over the pan of the trap, and then cover it up with dirt lightly. And then put a stick in front of it.
Because cats don't like to step on it, right?
Back of it. So he had to lift his foot and put his foot down that trap. So we did that. We had about 4 or 5 traps out. So Dale told me, he said, "Why don't you take Piscasio? Go down, run that trap line, see if we got anything." So Piscasio and I went down.
That's the client?
No, that's a native. He and I went down.
Okay.
And we're going to look to see if we got any.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it was the second trap. But by the time you got on the sandy flat, by the time you got within about 20 feet of that trap, you could tell that you had one in a trap.
Okay.
I mean, you can't see him, but trap's gone. So we just turn around and go back. We get Dale and the client to run this trap line. Well, we all know where the trap is and where he's got caught. We'd take a chain and tie onto the trap, about 4 foot long, and tie a stick on it, so it helped catch him in the brush.
Oh, so you weren't running like a gaff or a hook? I know some guys will run like a hook or something like that helps catch and slow them down. So it's technically the same thing.
Yeah, we just put a log on it.
Yep.
You know, so he'd get hung up.
Yep.
And so we're walking down toward where the trap is, and Dale's alongside this guy. And we get pretty close to the trap, and all at once Dale grabs this guy and said, "Look out!" You know? He said, "By God, we got one in the trap. Got to be careful," you know?
Oh, just playing it up for the guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we started deliberately making big circles, you know, so we knew we wouldn't run into him.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're going along being cautious and stopping every once in a while, and Dale would grab, "Look, no," you know.
Is this guy just completely
guy's
just locked
getting
up?
to where the sweat's coming down his face, you know. And finally we get him up there, and Dale grabs him, says, "There he is," you know, and hands him a shotgun with a slug in it.
Oh, God.
Just knocked the hell out of that jag.
I could imagine.
First shot, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's right quick. But anyway, Dale says, "What do you think? Is it exciting?" And the guy said, "I've never had anything so exciting in my life," you know.
And you all are back there just looking at each other
Yeah.
like, oh, God, this poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That's what it's like when I've gone out with some, you know, like my buddy in Africa, we had some guys over there, and they're kind of, I was like, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
I do the same.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just have fun, cut the shit, let's just kill a bunch of critters. And he's like, all right. Like, I don't need the church nothing up for me.
Yeah.
So that's part of the sport, you know. I mean, you want to give the client all the experience that they can. And
He's paying for it.
what did a Jaguar hunt go for back then?
A bear and a lion were the same amount of money, $900
Oh my God!
for a 10-day hunt.
What year was this?
And for a jaguar, it was $1,000.
$1,000 to hunt a Jaguar in Mexico. So these were all very wealthy people coming out of big cities.
Yeah.
What were your feet like?
Your daily wear was a T-shirt, pair of Levi's, and tennis shoes.
You were hunting Jaguars in the swamps in Levi's. Y'all were just built different. I were a different breed. I would die running through a swamp with Levi. I'll admit it. I know you would too. Can you imagine running hounds in Levi's and tennis shoes?
Yeah.
I mean, were your feet just rotting away by the time you're getting out of these swamps, or were you able to dry them out every day?
You'd dry them out every day.
I feel like my feet would just have jungle rot immediately or something.
When you get to camp, you know, we always had a fire.
Yep. Dried everything
Dry
out. Did you just get over being wet, or was it worth it?
Yeah, I don't know that we really thought too much about it, you know.
I mean, are you getting wet every day, or is it when you were just turning out on cats? Or like when you knew there was a sign?
When you were running cats.
So, I mean, you could go days you were just in the boats.
Without hearing anything.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. For some reason, I'm feeling like you're just out there all day, every day.
Without walking those flats, you couldn't just take a client and start out through the jungle.
Got it.
I mean, he's gone the first day. You know?
Yeah. I've had some clients that you just take and you just walk their asses off.
Yeah, we had some that wanted to get another one, you know.
Really?
But they never got another one. We'd take them, walk them through the swamp first day or a good long walk. Mm-hmm. And if they already had one, they'd think, that's good enough.
I've had my fill.
Yeah.
I could imagine. That was probably such a wild time. Just nobody down there besides you guys just running cats in the swamps. Were you guys going up like little sloughs, or were you just on the edge of the lake the whole entire time?
Come off of the lake was what we called stringers.
Okay.
And they were just like off of the lake would be like a river going off.
Okay.
You know?
And you're pulling yourself up in there?
Yeah.
Was there were you fishing a lot? Or like, was that where you're feeding clients, or were you bringing all your food in? Were you catching anything out there?
Brought all the food in.
Yeah. What were you guys feeding clients then? What was an average meal in camp back then?
Average meal?
Yeah.
It wasn't a luxurious trip hunting with Dale.
Yeah. You're there to work.
It was pretty rough going. I mean, we were used to it, but I imagine the client thought, "Holy hell!"
A lot of beans and
beans and oats and cooked ducks.
yeah.
Yeah, well, ducks was our only meat.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And you guys were getting those out there on the lake?
yeah. It was full of birds and ducks, and we had 5 guys one time come down to shoot ducks,
Okay.
and it was supposed to be a 5-day hunt for them. Day and a half,
Done.
they come into camp, said we shot enough.
That many ducks, huh?
Oh hell!
Like Argentina?
I mean, doves,
Really?
geese, snow geese. I've seen where you see pictures of snow geese getting up.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that down there where it's
Just thousands.
yeah.
Really? So you guys, I mean, there wasn't ever a day where you were like, oh man, I wish we can get some ducks. I mean, it was always just something.
Well, there was one particular duck that we eat. It was called a Falvus, black Falvus tree duck.
I don't know that one.
And they had long legs,
Okay.
and they had the habits of a goose. And when they flew, they peeped. It was
Okay.
a peeping sound. And the natives called them peepicinis
Peepicinis?
because they made that peepicini sound that
Mhm.
peeped when they flew. But you would go after food. Well, you'd find them on the sandbars. So you'd sneak around until where you could get up with a shotgun.
Just ground pound them?
Yeah, and ground pound them.
Yep.
You might get 10 at a time,
Yep.
Yeah.
Were you guys just grilling them, or were you breasting them out and making them all different ways, or was it just like over a fire?
In a crock pot
Okay.
with potatoes and onions and carrots. And
Okay.
let it cook all day. And they were pretty fair to eat,
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd say so. Is there a hunt in all of those years down there running bears? Is there any hunts that stand out to you the most that you were just like, man, that was either crazy or the biggest or something? I feel like every guide, there's 1 or 2 hunts that just stand out to them above the rest.
I think of one particular hunt. The client was a lieutenant governor from New Mexico. And I guess he had hunted all over the world and had a big shop where you went into and all of his heads and everything.
This is down in Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first one we put him on, it was the first hunt of the year. And we went up, instead of in the swamp, we went up on the edge of the foothills and was exercising the dogs up there. Well, it was the first hunt of the year. The dogs really hadn't got used to being there yet because it was a different climate, different altitude, everything that would affect a dog or even human beings. It affects you differently.
Oh, for sure.
And but anyway, we got on this track, and it was so damn hot that out of the 9 or 10 hounds that we had, Phyllis and I got to the it treed on a big boulder, big as this room.
Really?
And it was up on top of this boulder. And out of the 10 hounds, we only had 3 that got to the boulder, and their tongues was hanging out, and they were trying to bark. But it was, hell, they couldn't hardly make it. So we had talked to most of the clients that if one bayed on the ground, or if we had the dogs in a lot of danger, before they got there, we would go ahead and shoot the animal before we would lose dogs.
For sure.
And most of the clients was okay with that. They'd say, all right. wasn't the best thing, but they accepted it.
Yeah.
So it came off the boulder and on Phyllis side, Phyllis. We called him Phyllis because it was easier for us to say Phyllis than it was Philippe, so he was Phyllis.
I get it.
And, so he shot the animals that came off the side of the boulder, and this guy threw a fit.
Really?
I mean, he threw a fit. He didn't care if we lost every dog that we had.
That was his cat.
And Phyllis was an old blah, blah, blah for shooting his Jaguar. And so he left camp mad, didn't give anybody a tip or anything.
Ugh.
And the next year, he come back. So we knew he was going to be the first hunt again. So in the meantime of working the dogs, we found out we had 2 dogs that we didn't really want, that just wasn't going to be good dogs. So we took those dogs to Mexico, those 2 along with the others.
Why?
And Dale said to me, he said, I want you boys to take those 2 hounds on the race, but keep them on a rope. And if we get a chance, I want you 2 boys to throw those 2 hounds in there on a Jaguar. Let the Jaguar take care of them. We'll get $2,000.
Oh, so you have to pay
Well, he said, I'll give you $1,000 for every hound that's killed.
So you guys brought your 2 worst dogs for 2 extra grand?
Yeah.
Did it work?
No. We didn't get a chance to do it.
No. So now you're stuck with the 2 worst dogs?
Yeah. But anyway, after he got his Jaguar, he was happy.
Okay.
In fact, when he left camp, he gave me a 7X Beaver Stetson.
Really?
Back then, that was a hell of a hat.
Oh, hell yeah.
And everybody $100 bill.
Was that a really good tip? What was an average tip then because
$100.
and that was pretty good?
That was good.
And how many day hunt was this? These 5-day hunts?
14-day. $900.
14-day hunt?
2 clients a month.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a long 2 weeks with somebody, especially if it's a shitty client. Was there ever a client that showed up
You
and
could get rid of them pretty quick if you walked them in the swamp.
How many guys did you have to? Because, there's this, I feel at least every season you get one client that immediately you're like, okay, this guy, immediately no.
That was him.
That was him?
Yeah.
And you just walk them?
Yeah.
Complainers, take them to the swamp?
Take them to the swamp, put them in there all day,
Yep.
and they're ready to go home.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty convenient, though.
Yeah.
Dang. That's...
But can you imagine chasing hounds in that swamp?
No.
Afoot?
No. I'm trying to rack my brain because we talked a little bit about collars.
Okay.
And...
All right, in 59, Dale came up with the idea of these shock collars.
Really?
And he connected with a guy that was a professor at the University of Arizona, and they began work on the collars.
On these
Shock
electric,
collars.
okay, shock collars.
And the first shock collars that they had, we were at that camp in the Santa Rita Mountains. That was the first summer for me. And he came out and brought us a box about 6 inches wide, 4 inches in depth, and maybe a foot high, with a 7-foot antenna on it.
Per dog?
No, that was the unit.
Oh, okay.
That we were testing.
Okay.
It only had high-low.
These poor dogs.
And so the collar only had one. they only had one connection in the collar.
One prong.
One prong that
Okay.
stuck up. Well, we didn't have a tester. That wasn't invented yet.
Okay.
So, in order to tell if we had it was okay,
You're sticking this on yourself.
Dale would say to me, George, you take that collar out there about 50 yards and hold on to it, and I'll give you a shock. We'll see if it's working or not. So we had to do that, you know. So
Every day?
after trying that, every day you went, you had to get shocked.
So that box you're talking about, that's the transmitter instead of the handheld remote.
Yeah,
you had to carry
that's
this
it.
thing? Okay.
So you're riding horseback with
this box.
muleback with this box.
Okay.
And so I go out there and get shocked, you know. And so I said to Dale one day, I said, hey, Dale, I said, damn, I've been going out there getting shocked every day. How about you take the collar out and see what it feels like? And he said, and I'll never forget what he said to me. And he talked kind of slow, you know. And he said,
Yeah.
now, George, he says, you got to remember that this is a highly sophisticated piece of equipment. And you're not qualified to hold on to the unit. You're only used to getting shot. So he said, you go out there. So that's the way it was.
So you were the original tester for the original shot collar on dogs.
Yes. Sure. But anyway, after testing this,
That is hilarious. How bad was it?
it wasn't too bad.
But enough to wake you up in the morning?
He put it on low, you know.
Did you ever get it on high?
No, and I didn't get shocked on that.
Okay.
I'd have never done it again. But anyway, nobody knows about this, about Dale being with this professor
Okay.
and coming up with this idea of shocking dogs with
Yeah.
a collar. And it eventually became, the outfit is in Tucson, Arizona, and still, that, what's the name of that collar? I'll think of it. But anyway, he and Dale got to where that's what this was.
Really?
And later on, it got to be what there is today. And Dale and this guy from the university was to share this business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it progressed, and every time Dale happened to be in Tucson, he'd go to the office where they would begin to sell them and want to see the books. Well, the books were never available. There was some reason why they wasn't available. So after about 3 times of going and Dale didn't get to see anything, he said, I don't want anything to do with you guys. And walked out of it.
And those guys ended up probably patenting that, and now they have, what, Garmin or
Yeah.
any of the
What
other...
was before Garmin?
Yeah, what was before Garmin?
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you.
Garmin bought. It's a company. Ransom, why don't you look up on your phone
Use that phone over there, Ransom.
shark collars that's in Tucson, Arizona.
Original shot colors, and which ended up transferring to the GPS, and
All
then
of
just
that.
everything evolved from there.
Everything evolved.
So how would it work? Would you just push that button and all the dogs are getting shocked? Or you could
no,
individually...
you got one collar.
Oh, just one
One
collar?
collar for that particular dog for the day.
So would you just put it on your lead dog then? And
You put it on the dog that you knew was going to run deer. or javelina
So you just had to
or
pick out your
trash.
problem dog, and that's how you were
Yeah,
fixing your problem
yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I mean, was it a lot more successful doing that versus the old school way?
The old school was doubled up rope and
Let them run and
whipping them,
okay.
you know.
Yep.
And when you whipped them, usually if one dog took off, they'd take all of them.
Yeah.
So you had to tie them all up and take one at a time and whip,
Got it.
you know.
Yeah.
And it was hard on the dog.
For sure.
A lot harder than I want to say, it's not unicow. Unicow's something else.
That's interesting, though, that you were the test dummy for
Yeah.
for the shot colors.
Yeah, we were the first ones that done it.
Yeah.
It says right here that Dale Lee and Frank Hoover back in the 1950s created the first e-collars.
No kidding. And you were the tester for it.
Yeah.
Trying to find the company.
Yeah.
What'd they call the company?
He's trying to look for it. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
So after you wrapped up your adventures down south, what happened after that?
Well, we were up on a mountain, Catalina Mountains out of Tucson, Arizona, for the same thing to do summer.
Okay.
And there was an old sawmill up on the top of the mountain. And there was a building, had 3 or 4 stalls to keep your animals.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an old mattress and springs up in a loft. And that's where Dale and I slept
Really?
that summer. Was up on this mountain called Mount Lemon.
God, you live quite the life, huh?
Well, Mount Lemon, we rode every day from there. And before the summer was over, I happened to meet the girl that I eventually married. That
Okay.
Her folks had a cabin up there. And I began to see her. And that eventually led to me leaving Dale and getting married.
Always,
That's where I
it's
met my wife there.
always a woman.
Yeah,
Always a woman.
got rid of the dogs, whole thing.
Every time.
All gone to hell.
Every time. Got rid of the dogs. Lost everything. Yep, women. Every time.
Yeah.
How was that going? Or how did that go?
Well, at first, I left Dale, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and I had maybe, I don't know how many dogs I had. I had 6 or 7, and then had some pups. But anyway, after I left Dale come over one day before he was going to Mexico, and he says to me, George, I'd like to buy that dog. His name's Reb. He said, I'd like to buy Reb off of you. He said, you ain't going to be able to go do any big game hunting. He said, sell me that dog. I said, okay, what do you give me for him? He said, I'll give you $250. And this was in 63.
So that's a good chunk of cash.
Yeah, 63.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sold him. And when Dale came back, I don't know whether it was from Mexico or from the summer of training or maybe a year later or so, I went over because I knew Dale would be home.
Mm-hmm.
I went over and I looked at all the dogs. And I said to him, Dale, I don't see Reb. And he said, in his slow voice, now, well, George, he says, he said, I sold old Reb to Texas. And he said, the day that I bought old Reb, he became a lee hound.
What's a lee hound?
A lee hound is worth $750.
So you were making money on your dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha, huh?
That was the end of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I eventually, I couldn't hunt and work. You know how that
Yep.
goes. You're lucky to get your dogs out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, I go and look at different guys that's got hounds, and they tell me, oh, I get the dogs out maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't have real good hounds.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have them because you gotta work them every day. When you work a dog every day, you can make a dog.
Oh, for sure. Then they become a machine.
Yeah.
So how long have you been married?
61 years.
Good for you. Good for you, I guess, right?
Yeah, I need a shock collar every now and then.
What's the secret? What is the secret to having a marriage for 61 years? I should probably be asking the wife, but let's get your opinion on what's made it work all these years. Because I feel in today's day and age, it's so easy for everybody to just pull the plug and work and go different directions. For 63 years, how's that? How have you made it work?
Well, now I'm going to have to be careful here. Marie's sitting over there. But I think Marie pretty much let me do whatever I wanted to do the first 15 years we were married.
Okay.
Till she got tired of it. And one day she wiped her finger right across her forehead and said, "I've had it, right up to here." I said, "Well, I guess it's time to change."
Okay.
And I changed.
Yeah. Ever since, huh?
Yeah, but Marie's always pretty much let me get into whatever I wanted to get into or do or.
Yeah. I think that's healthy, though. I think a lot, especially a guy like you. We're a certain breed of guys that just are never going to be caged.
Yeah.
But she's got a shot collar on you.
Yeah.
They'll reel you back every now and then, but you still need that freedom to run and chase and live that life.
I miss that more than anything, getting old.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't just take off.
Yeah.
I used to just take off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't do that anymore for a lot of reasons. Things have changed. You can't set a camp up in the mountains for a whole summer or be in one place for all summer or we didn't ask anybody. We just went.
Yeah, and everything's locked up. You got to have permits and
yeah,
you got to live that era of freedom before.
Yeah. To tell you how Dale was well known, I came into Tucson out of camp. We'd come back from Mexico. So I went up to see my sister, drove up there.
Mm-hmm.
On the way up there, I got pulled over by a state cop. And I got out of the car. You could get out of the car back then.
Not anymore.
I got out of the car, and he got out of the car, and he's walking towards me, and he said, "I've got you on a whole shit pot full of things." He said, "Your taillights are out. Your mirrors are broke off." He said, "I don't know how you can even drive on a public street with that thing." And I said, "Well, I just come out of the mountains."
So this is your hound truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, "I just come out of the mountains and things were pretty rough back there." And he said, "What was you doing up there?" And I said, "Well, I was hunting with Dale Lee." "Oh," he said, "you hunted with Dale?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh my God." And we started talking, and he got a rifle out of his car for me to look at.
Yep.
And I said to him, "Why don't you write me a ticket?" I said, "I'll take it back to Dale, and he'll have to pay for all this stuff," which he's going to do eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But give him a ticket. He said, "I wouldn't give Dale a ticket."
He saw you that big of a name back then, huh?
Yeah.
Man, I can only imagine the things that you learned being under his belt like that.
Can you imagine having a picture in the paper? There's a picture of Dale and I sitting in front of hides on a string behind us, and it's in the Tucson Daily Citizen, headline,
Do you have this picture?
Yeah.
Send me the picture. I want to see this. See, but back then it wasn't so scrutinized, and you weren't the enemy for doing this.
Today
No.
having hides of
God,
jaguars in a newspaper?
Especially jaguars. I mean, oh my God! Anything that's been a Disney character and fuzzy and cute. I mean, you are just crucified these days, and people just don't understand. I mean, obviously a lot's changed, and you've seen that evolution of
Yeah.
being published in a paper of being houndsmen and being proud and representing a city or a state. And then now it's, oh my God, you post something and it's the end of the world. You have every anti and
Yeah, remember that guy went here a while back? What did he do? He would shot that lion. He shot a lion and it got in the newspaper.
was it the football player or the yes. Yep, and there's a picture of him holding it. It was in the backyard. I mean, he went worldwide for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just it blew up, and I mean, the story's for the good, but I mean, people don't see that. They see anything now, and you are just
He's
I mean,
a villain.
Oh, I've posted things and the stuff that people wish upon my children for me hunting a mountain lion or a bear or something like that. It's just it's disgusting.
If I talk about bear hunting to any people, I have to tell them it's all for fun and no shooting.
Yeah.
We don't kill anything.
Yeah.
And they accept it a little bit, but they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't understand. They don't, for us at least, I can't understand, the people that just, it's fascinating to me because if you sat down and had a conversation with them and they're there to protect these animals and we need to save them all, but you start asking them questions about the habitat, the how these bears live or the cats live and their movements and their patterns, and they don't know anything. They know nothing about these animals besides what they see on some documentary. And then I take my kids out there, and my kids can tell more about these animals, more facts about them, the habitats, the food, when they're going from grass to when the fawns are dropping and they're switching to calves. None of these people know any of this, but they're the ones that are protecting and saving and all this stuff, and they don't understand. And especially us as a family, we're not just killing a bear. Like we eat bear. I think bear's a great meat. I wouldn't probably mess with it in Alaska, and especially on salmon runs and things like that. But here in Idaho, I mean, we can all of our bear. We eat everything. We're bringing the fat back. We're reusing all of that to melt down and make tallow with. I mean, we're reusing so much of these. It goes down to the bones for us. I have a buddy that's a knife maker in California. I've been building knives with him for a very long time. I send him at the end of each season a box of all the femur and tib, fib bones and all that. He petrifies them through this process where it hardens the bone, and then he's turning them all into knife handles. So it's like we're using, the only part we really don't use is the hides. I mean, obviously we have them on the ground as rugs. I mean, I have bears everywhere. I mean, kind of, you know how it is. You get a stack of what do you do with them? But we're using everything of these bears all the way down to the bone, and then I post a picture of it, and people just, I mean, they call me every word in the book and wish the most horrific things on my children, and it's just like, God, like you have no idea what you're even talking about, and here you guys were down there just stacking jaguars and lining them up, putting the newspaper over it for being some heroes. Times have definitely changed.
Yeah,
you can say that
for sure.
Well, sir, I appreciate your time. This was a
I don't get to very seldom I get to talk about it anymore. If I get a chance to talk.
Let me fix that for you.
Oh,
there you go. No, you're good.
If I get a chance to talk about it, I really like it.
Oh, shit. I mean, if you have more stories, I'll sit here all day.
Most people don't understand it.
They don't.
And they're not interested. Mm-hmm. So if you get somebody that's interested, it's fun.
I'm very interested. And especially because, you were hunting in an era that was like the last free range. And then, I try to explain how much has changed from when I grew up hunting to now with my kids. I'm like, now I feel like, well, God, when I was young, we used to, and I take my kids back home to where I grew up. I grew up waterfowl hunting. I was a big waterfowl. We grew up on the Canadian border in upstate New York. Beautiful, big water hunting. I mean, you can't even see land on some of the areas where we're hunting out there. And it's like now you go and I talk to my dad. It's like this is leased up, this is locked up by some outfitter, and these kids are, and you got to pay a ton to get in anywhere. It's definitely not the same, and it sucks. And even here, bear hunting. I mean, Ransom and I, we've talked bear hunting, and it's changed so much from now where I'm at. Like, you especially if you're running baits or something like that. I do it a lot, especially for the kids. It's fun. We bring in some kids that are battling cancer or disabled vets, whatever it is. It's easy to run them off a bait. And now it's like we'll be sitting on our spot and some guy will just come walking through in the middle of the stand. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm hunting up here too. It's like there's no courtesy anymore. People don't have any respect on the mountain. you know, I was raised, if you see somebody in an area, just go find another. They beat you to it. They get your ass up earlier. They're in there. They cut that track sooner than you did. Don't try to cut around the backside and turn your dogs out because you know there's a cat in here now. Now it's like you're sitting on a point, glassing somewhere, and you'll have a truck pull right up next to you, and 5 dudes get out, and then they're all laughing, joking, glassing the same. And it's just like the courtesy, the respect, all of that is just. And I think a lot of it has to do, obviously, with social media and the world that we live in now, because everybody wants to be something and prove something, and they got to have all of that. Back then, you guys were just doing it to do it. I mean, it was just that was your love and passion, and if nobody knew about it, you were doing it regardless. Now it's like you have to take a picture of it, or it doesn't count.
I remember the first time. You know, now they got these 4-wheelers. They got everything to get up there. And
your 4-wheelers were mules.
I remember I was mulebacking, and I heard this engine, and I thought, what the hell is that? And here come a guy on what they called a tote goat.
A tote goat.
Do you remember those? They were a 2-wheeler, and that's what they was.
Were they a wide wheel, like, or?
No. I don't remember them as being oversized wheels.
Tote goat. I don't know a tote goat.
But they're. Ransom will look it up.
Show me a picture, Ransom. We need the big screen in here to be able to pull things up. We're not on that level yet, you know, not yet. But a tote goat. What were your thoughts when you saw this coming up the mountain?
Well, I really was amazing. I thought, what the hell is that doing up here?
You're like, you cheating son of a bitch. Here you are fighting a mule half the season trying to get that thing under control.
Yeah.
I could imagine. What was it like when was it when your hunting gear started to get better, or your boots? I mean, because you started out in leather boots, laying brick. When do you remember when like things started to change and hunting gear kind of started to evolve?
Not really.
No.
When I know Tyler asked me, he said, why did you sell your dogs and quit hunting? And because I did. And I said, well, I knew.
That's the tote goat right there.
You got him? Yeah. That was it.
This guy comes riding up the mountain in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the mountain trail.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I remember when I quit hunting, people have asked me, why did you get rid of your dogs and just quit it altogether? And I said, well, I knew that there was no way I could hunt it like I did. Mm-hmm. And if I couldn't do it like I did it with Dale, I didn't want to do it.
No point doing it, huh?
No.
You didn't even keep one hound, not a pup, nothing? Really?
I left it all.
Really? That was probably pretty rough for a while.
You know.
With the wife sitting here, not so bad, but if she wasn't sitting here, would it have been worse?
Yeah. Marie was good about the dogs.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I had them, yeah.
It's a lot of food.
Yeah, and you used to get, like on Purina sacks,
Okay.
you used to get stickers, weight sticker, and you got money for that sticker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'd collect so much of that dog food with the stickers, and then we have enough money to go out.
Oh, that was the treat, huh? Once you bought enough dog food.
Well, we didn't, when Marie and I first got married, we lived in a little trailer, probably, I'm going to guess it to be 25 foot, maybe.
Okay.
All it had was a bedroom, and the kitchen and the living room was together. And it had a little cabana on the outside that had a shower.
Okay. Really?
And that was it.
And where was this at?
In Tucson.
Okay. And how long were you guys there for?
I don't know. We slowly progressed, you know, over the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you ask her to marry you?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Really? Did I just create a fight?
No, I don't know.
You're like, we're way past that.
Through a letter.
Say again?
Through a letter when he was back in Indiana.
Really? Wrote you a letter?
And we eloped to Nogales, Arizona, and got married in a civil service.
Really?
Yep. Very romantic.
Very.
On the run.
I love it. I love it. And so after that house, I mean, where you guys just started chipping away, huh?
Yeah,
What were you doing for work?
laying brick.
Is that what you did for a career after
Yeah.
that? How long did you do that for?
Well, I actually was pretty close to the trade till I retired at 62 from all those years in between.
Okay.
But in 1980, there's two trades to the brick trade.
Okay.
There's the trade that you see out here where schoolhouses and commercial buildings,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other part of the trade is working in the foundries and in laying fire brick
Okay.
or any work that's connected to heat.
Okay.
Because any unit that's connected to heat has to have an outside shell, and something has to protect that shell from the fire.
Is that what you did?
And there's a lining that you do. There's all different types
Mm-hmm.
of linings. Well, I always, that kind of work was always shutdown work.
What do you mean by that?
Like the sugar plants here.
Mm-hmm.
After they have a campaign being when they make the beets into sugar,
Mm-hmm.
that requires, in a certain area, that requires heat of 2,500 degrees. That, say a boiler that runs 25 degrees has to have an 8-inch lining, 9-inch lining, whatever is required. And after they run that campaign, they shut everything down. And when they shut everything down, that's when you go in and repair.
Because it's just brittle.
Because it gets burned up,
Okay.
the lining.
Okay.
No matter how good the lining, how good the work was to install it, it's going to burn out.
And yeah, they have to do that every time. So every season, technically, we'll say for these plants here, every sugar beet season, once they
Yeah.
process everything,
Yeah.
you would come in and replace all that?
Right.
Now, if it's in between, it's at a barrier, are you taking out the brick and then replacing it, then placing new brick in, or are you able to get in between the barrier? How does
No,
that work?
No, you tear everything out
Really?
and then put in a new lining.
Really?
It can be brick,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be gunite that you shoot on, and now they have a gun that shoots a plastic type material
Okay.
that you shoot on the wall, and that's a good lining.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was always shutdown work. It was always overtime, usually around the clock, 7 days a week.
Because they're counting on you to get back up and running
The
again.
faster you get back up, the better.
Yep. Because your time is money for these plants.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys in Arizona for?
I think the first year we were married, honey, we came up that spring, the next spring. I think it was.
To here?
Yeah, to Pocatello.
Oh, okay.
And we rented a U-Haul.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd said to Marie, I said, instead of staying down here all summer and it's hotter than hell, let's go north.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get a job up there. Well, we pulled into Pocatello, and they had just started a brick job on the liberal arts building.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a motel right across the street from that job. So I said, just pull in here. We'll stay all night. I'll go over there and go to work the next day. And then we'll hunt. You can hunt for a place to stay while I'm working. The next day I went across the street, went to work.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you plan on coming to Idaho, or did you guys just drive until you found somewhere that looked beautiful?
We just was looking for a job and being cool for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So then we went back and forth for a while.
Oh, okay.
And then finally we moved up to Idaho for good. I think it was along about 72 that we moved to Idaho for good. And then later on, I think it was about 82, maybe 83, we bought a home in Tucson. And No, it had to be just before I retired. Yeah, that's about right. And we bought a house in Tucson, and we had bought a cabin close to Lava Hot Springs.
Oh, okay.
Up in the mountains, right
Yep.
at tree line. I bought 15 acres with a log cabin.
That's a beautiful little area in there.
Oh, it was a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
So then we traveled back and forth. Down there in the winter, up here in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally we sold the cabin, and then we sold the house in Tucson and moved over here to Eagle.
How much? I mean, I know the answer to this, but how was it watching the state just change over the years, and everything just evolved so fast?
Yeah. Well, we seen Tucson do that.
Mm-hmm.
They would come up here, and we seen it happen up here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of sad in a way that I think about the days that I was able just to go wherever.
Yeah. I hear about the stories of like Eagle Road being a dirt road and one lane. And
I didn't see that. We didn't see
yeah,
that.
because you guys were out east.
We come up. I like to say we came up here in about 72.
Okay.
And lived over on the other side of the state.
Yep.
And then I met a fellow that knew the Teutonia, Briggs area, Victor. Knew that area, this side of what's the mountains right there? Tetons.
Okay.
So we, one summer, we went up to do a building in up at Drake's.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're right on the slope of that mountain. And I fished I knew every mountain, every stream on the drainage on that mountain.
They were living the dream on that project.
And it was great fly fishing.
Yeah.
Nobody, I caught some nice fish over there then.
See, you had all virgin land and rivers and streams. Now
Native fish.
Before all this introduced crap.
Yeah.
Now everything it goes 2 degrees warm, and now everything's dying off, and it's like what were the fish doing when you were out there fishing? Now it's like they shut everything down, and waters are too warm. And
we went up a canyon that there was a Girl Scout canyon up at the head of Darby.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you know where Darby is.
I know of Darby. Yep.
Up behind where that old drive-in is, the Spud.
Yeah.
You go to a show at night and the cows are mooing.
See?
Yeah.
That would have been
But anyhow, as we went up Darby Canyon, everybody was already up at this Girl Scout camp. Mm-hmm. We were going to have just a cookout. So after I got out of the truck, I said, "Let me out halfway down, and I'll walk up the river, walk up the canyon, and fish on the way up."
Mm-hmm.
And after, I guess this guy told Marie, he said, "Well, I didn't tell George that this creek has been poisoned, and there's no fish in it." And he said, "He'll just have a nice fishing trip on the way up." So anyway, every hole I was able to catch at least 2 native cutthroat.
Really?
Every hole.
Really?
And I had an old metal stringer,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept fish back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it on the back end of my Levi's, and I'd reach back and pull it like to pull my pants down. I had so many fish on it. And I got up to camp, and I don't know, I must have had 12 or so nice fish.
Yeah.
You put your finger in their gills, and they're big down to your elbows.
Yep.
And they were almost black.
Oh, yeah.
Being in, that water.
Mm-hmm.
For so long, I guess. Anyway, when I got up to camp where everybody was, I left the fish in the brush because I didn't know who was there exactly because I knew I had way too many.
Yep.
And as I walked into camp, knew everybody, and so then I went back and got the fish. And one of the old guys there that was the sheriff, that was his home. He born and raised there. But anyway, when I walked into camp with that stringer, he said, "You so-and-so, you've caught every fish in that creek."
He's probably been throwing them back in.
Yeah, but I hadn't, I mean, you could only catch a couple out of the hole.
Yeah.
And you could throw in there for 15 times, and they're stirred up. Mm-hmm. So if you throw in, you didn't catch one, go to the next hole.
Just work your way up.
Yeah.
When you were running cats and bears and everything, did you ever run into any of the law down there? Were fishing game even like a thing, or
No.
never even worried about any of that stuff, huh?
Not even so much in the States.
Really?
Everybody, like when we went up to Blue River and Hannigan's, the fish and game guys, they'd usually stop by camp, have coffee, and talk a little bit.
Get to know you and actually have a conversation with you?
Most of them knew Dale anyway.
Yeah.
He'd been on. They made a remark about an old guy, I can't think, Blue something was this guy's name, but I don't remember the last name. Anyway, they said what a good tracker he was. And Dale said he ought to be. He's been chasing me for 30 years.
Did you guys ever get used? Did they ever, the state or government ever use your hounds for anything, or was it just strictly private? What you guys were doing?
What we were doing.
Yeah. And you had quite the adventure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It sounds like it.
I'd like to. We'll have this fellow meet Tyler.
Do I know Tyler? No?
He's pretty pokey.
Okay. Yep.
But he's got, the hounds that he has with bait, he brings in a trailer load
Oh, yeah.
of bait.
Yep. That's the way to do it. I wish.
Semi-trailer.
I don't have that luxury. I'm packing, and I make the kids pack everything, and we probably do, I think per bait, I want to say we're doing over 3,000 pounds of bait throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
I don't let mine go dry at all. We're constant.
He, somehow he's got a connection that he buys from a factory that makes the ice cream cones.
Oh, yep.
And breaks all the breakage and all that. He buys all that in a 4x4 crate.
Yep.
And has a semi-load of it.
That's nice. I got a buddy that works at a hostess facility, so every time they drop or restock the gas station shelves, they have to pull everything off for some reason, and it's all good food. And so I go down and I'll load up a trailer and a truckload, and we have all the garlic bread and donuts, and I mean, you name it.
Yeah, that too.
It's perfect for them, and they just eat it up. But that's like one of my secrets to it is I just don't let anything go dry.
Yeah.
We're in, because those bears, once they find that food source, it's so competitive these days, and there's everybody. I mean, I'll have another guy in my canyon now, but they'll sit and they bait maybe once a week, and I'll have a sow that'll come in with 3-4 cubs. We actually had a sow for the last couple of years. She'll have 4 or 5 cubs. I mean, she comes in with a pack of cubs, and she'll sit there and she'll empty my whole barrel and pull everything out, and then she just walks off, and those cubs will sit there and eat it over the next 2 days. And if you don't go back, I mean, you're done, you're dry right then and there. And so I've figured out ways to wire things through the bait hole so it slows them down. I put a rebar on the inside, so when they scrape up, when they get toward the top, they can't scrape out. Pulls everything out, so it keeps some in the bottom. Like they're genius little things. I've strung a bait ball between 2 trees, and I got trail cam pictures of bear legs hanging because they scoot out on the cable and they'll chew that bait ball off. And so you got a trail cam picture and there's just bear legs dangling in the air. I'm like, you little sons of bitches. Yeah, they'll do anything. They're a creative little animal. I mean, if they could find a way to get a claw in it or something, they're getting it open.
I got a big kick out of Ransom. I was telling Ransom about using the stick on the bears. So he sent me a picture one day, and he was up on his up on, what do you call it? Where you climb
Tree stand?
up. Yeah, he was up on it, and he's got a picture. Sent me a picture on my phone of a little bear at the bottom trying to come up the ladder.
Yep.
It was fooling with his pack.
Yep.
And it said, when he sent it to me, it said, "What do I do now?"
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some pretty close and fun encounters with them. I mean, they're a pretty curious animal, the young ones at least. Those old ones, you got to trick them a little bit and get them to,
That's all new to me.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea that you could bait like that.
Really?
Huh?
Yep, I have.
See, Tyler's dogs, when they run off that bait, his dogs don't have a nose, don't have a cold nose.
Yeah.
They just run it on sight.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
They're seeing the bear when they're running.
That's convenient.
The only thing is, you got to have a vehicle that can get you around, Like he's got one of those, it's a four-wheeler in the front, but it's got a bed on the back.
Yeah.
Has wheels underneath.
Yep, like an Argo or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of those.
Yeah, that'll get you around.
And sometimes the dogs are out of hearing in a matter of minutes.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's amazing, this
watch.
handheld and all the dogs are on.
Watch everything.
I don't have to get shocked before I go.
There you go. That is a hilarious story. I'm glad we covered that. But, well, thank you very much for coming on and telling some of your stories. I'm very grateful to hear that, and thank you for your service and everything that you've done, and just
thank you.
Live quite the wild and crazy life.
If you got a minute,
I have all the time in the world.
I'm going to tell you a story about losing some hounds.
Okay. I was going to ask you that earlier, if you've ever lost any off cliffs or anything like that.
The best hound that Dale says he ever had was a dog named Pilot, and it went off a cliff.
Really?
Killed it. But anyway, this other deal. We were on a Jaguar race, and all at once we ran into a bunch of pole cutters that were cutting poles in the swamp.
Okay.
For the tobacco to dry off when they put the tobacco up on it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we heard these natives start saying, "Catch the dogs, they're worth money." And so right away the dogs quit on the track because they were hollering at them. So we were right there, me and Phyllis, and
The native.
Yep. And we got the dogs back, hollering at them, and got them to us. We were close enough, and we got all the dogs but two. And one was black and tan, named Roki, and he only had one eye. And the other dog was a Walker hound. Mm-hmm. Her name was Sadie. And so we lost those two, and we went back to camp. And we figured these pole cutters were from a little town that was on the edge of the swamp called Mexcachitan. And so when we got back to camp, Dale said, "You and Dan," there was a guy that was with us that was from Nevada. I can't think of Dan's last name, but anyway, Dan had hunted quite a few lion, and he worked with an old hunter from Nevada that was named Wiley Carroll, who was pretty famous in Nevada.
Okay.
And so Dan and I took a boat. We went down to the island where these natives lived. It was a little town, had maybe 10, 12 buildings, and we walked up to the buildings, and as we passed people, we'd ask them in our kind of broken, neither one of us very good with the Spanish. Mm-hmm. We could get our story across. And we could tell that they didn't even want to listen to us. They did it wasn't a good environment for us to even be there.
Really? So you could tell immediately that they didn't want anything to do with you?
You could kind of tell. And I doubt very much if the kids had even seen a white man.
Oh, okay.
You know. And so eventually we went over and decided to have a beer in this little canteen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it was probably a little bit bigger than this, but not much. It was just like a room, and it had a dirt floor and had swinging doors when you went in, and there was a little bar over at the side, and there was a couple Mexicans having a beer. So we got us a beer and drank it, standing there at the bar. And we turned around to go out, and there's a Mexican standing next to these doors, and he stepped over in front of these doors, and he had probably a 38 Special, because they're not allowed to have anything larger than a 38 in Mexico themselves. So it's probably a 38 semi-automatic pistol. Just had the handles sticking out. Stood in front of that door, and we're standing side by side looking at him, and seems like a few minutes passed. And Dan always wore like a leather jacket that had some fringe on it, you know.
Old cowboy jacket?
Cowboy jacket, and had a hat that had the studs on it and all, kind of a city cowboy. But he had a Colt single action revolver.
Okay.
With an 8-inch barrel. And so once Dan pulls his coat back, you know, there's that.
He's lived for this moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at him and this guy, you know.
You're stepping out of the way.
I'm thinking, oh, God damn, we're in a gunfight, you know. But the guy finally steps aside. Seems like minutes, you know.
I'm sure.
And anyway, we walked out, and then we walked pretty fast.
Watching your back.
Getting back to the boat. And we got out. And anyway, we got back to camp. Dale said, "Do you hear anything or find out where them dogs were?" We said, "No." He said, "Well, go back. You can go back down there tomorrow." I think we both said at the same time, "No."
We're good.
We're not going down there anymore. You know? But that was, we finally, we went, a lot of times if you lose dogs, even in mountains, if you lose a couple dogs and you get on a race the next day or two on another race, those dogs that are lost will hear those other dogs, and they'll come to them.
No kidding.
And when we got to the tree, Sadie was there.
Really?
And but Okie don't know what happened to Okie, but Sadie showed up at the tree, so we got her back.
So you being a rowdy, rambunctious younger man, do you guys ever get in any good fights while you're out just running amok in these towns and villages and stuff?
No.
Really?
No.
I find that hard to believe.
That was the only
Really?
Only one that that gunfight was enough. We didn't need any more.
Yeah. Called it quits after that. Really? That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you do when you're in foreign country much.
Yeah.
And if you're in like here, around here, most of the guys know each other.
And you were running with a legend too, so it's not like you're trying to put a bad rep or taste on his name, so not trying to get into too much.
No, Dale was pretty particular about who came to his camp.
I can imagine.
If you wasn't the right kind of person to be in camp, you didn't stay very long.
Yeah. Took him for a walk.
You left.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Absolutely. This was a great time.
I don't know about the girls in Ransom. They probably got bored.
Yeah. It's not about them.
That's right.
They'll have their time. Well, my daughter gets to sit here and listen to every one of these crazy stories anyway, so that's that's why she's got all the blankets. She's always bundled up sitting in here.
Now, what are you going to do with this?
We have one more guy ahead of you, so in 2 weeks this will air. I'll send you guys a link of it so you'll have everything. We'll put it on YouTube and you get to watch, and we have this story documented of some old legend hunters that were running the swamps and jaguars, so yeah.
That'd be fun. Be fun to have.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get a link, and we'll get it all to you guys. And yeah, that's kind of the whole point of this. And so, like, we were doing this out of a studio. We've been converting this slowly. Hopefully Sunday we're going to transform this whole entire room. We're about 90% ready. This whole wall is going to be like an acoustic wall. I mean, and we'll have old barn wood behind you. I got a backdrop from our old trade show. I took that apart, so that would go behind me. We got a big neon light that's going to go here. So yeah, hopefully this weekend we'll be finished up in here, but we just said screw it, and we started doing it, and, my daughter's taken over as the producer of it, and we have no idea what we're doing half the time and still figuring shit out as we go, but we make it happen, and we get to capture really cool stories, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with this, is just sit down with anybody. You see some of these shows, and all they have is big celebrities or politicians and all this stuff on there, which is great. I mean, people want to hear their voices, but there's so many guys like yourself and Ransom and Paige. Everybody's got something that they've gone through, or, I've sat down with women that have gone through trauma with their childhood, and to a vet losing his leg, and we had a guy that the dog stepped on an IED next to him and blew him up, and just everybody's got a crazy story, and that's what we want to capture here with the show, and just give everybody a platform and to be able to tell something. And we get so many crazy emails. Like when I started this, I'll be honest, I'm not even like a big podcast watcher myself. I have one of my best friends, he's got a show, so I always listen to his. And whenever we air something, I'm always like, oh, cool, that was a lot of fun. Like we get to have a really good conversation, and then we get these emails that come in of people like, I've never thought I'd be able to connect with somebody on this level, or this guy went through exactly what I experienced, or I went through the same trauma as her as a kid. And so it's awesome to be able to know that people can connect with anybody. And obviously with my following, I have a huge hunting following, so I'm sure a lot of guys will get a kick out of hearing some old stories from, old Mexico. And like, that's the stuff that I love. I love hearing things, and, especially being a guy, I don't guide as much anymore, but guiding from on the Mexican-Texas border to, Oregon blacktails. I like to jump around and experience different things. And, there's always client stories and, dealing with different personalities and people. You never know, like, what you're going to do in those worlds. So I like to capture a lot of that type of stuff and just hear stories.
Well, you guys, the day and age of hunting with hounds, for me, I mean, first time I went with Tyler, we're riding in a truck and we're catching bears.
You're like, never in my life.
Wow.
Where's this been?
Yeah. He asked me one day, he said, what do you think Dale would think of this? I said, he's got to think it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're not trying, I don't know if you've ever rode horseback.
Oh, yeah.
Chasing dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of friends down in Tucson, a lot of cowboy friends, and they were always kidding me about never riding in an arena.
Mm-hmm.
They'd say, when you going to come down and ride with us in an arena? And I'd say, just after you chase the hounds. And they'd say, no thanks.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to do that.
It's a different world, and one of the worst, actually the worst hunt I've ever done in my life was a mountain lion hunt. I took my wife with me, and it was the worst hunt I've ever done. It was the most miserable. It was a high of, I want to say, with the wind chill, it was like -40. We were up in Casper, Wyoming, and it was the last week of December, and I told the wife, we were still living in California at that point, and she didn't have any gear, and I'm like, hey, you got to get on and get some gear. Like, this is real hunting. You're coming with me. And so we went up there, and we ended up cutting out. We cut these tracks at like 4:30 in the morning. We sat and waited for sun to come up, turned the hounds out, and immediately off to the races. These dogs crossed 2 mountain ranges and treed a cat on the backside. Like I said, it was like a high of -40. It was so cold. Everything was frozen solid by the time we got there. Water, everything, snacks, everything was just frozen. We ended up getting to the cat. It was incredible. The cat would treat on a big, like a ponderosa or a big pine, but it was right on on a cliff below us, so we were almost eye level with the cat. It was a younger Tom, and cats, like, I don't need to kill more than one cat, so I wanted to make sure it's the right one. So we ended up passing on the cat. And when those dogs, we think, finally got to the cat at one point on the first mountain range, two of the hounds jumped down into like this V, and they couldn't get back out. And then the whole pack kept going. And so by the time we get to the cat, we spent all day walking. I mean, I think we did, that was like 11 miles to get to the cat. And then we come back, and I'm pole-stoling in snow up to my thighs. Like, every step I'm breaking through, just crust. Everybody else is light enough to just walk on this, and every now and then they would break through and be like, oh, this sucks. And my whole day, I'm drenched. It's negative 40 degrees and I'm soaking wet. Like, I'm stripping down to like my merino wool base layer. That's all I have on. I ripped off half my mustache at one point because it was just this giant, like, frozen chunk of snot, and I ripped out it's hanging off with like my hair just balled up in it. We end up getting back to the truck, and my buddy's like, dude, we got to go get these other two dogs. They could possibly be on another cat, because he's like, these two they do it all the time. They'll split off and the whole pack they'll go after one cat. So we hike like another 8 miles in to get to these hounds, and we get there and they're ledged out on this cliff like 60 feet up. And that's when we had to start a fire, melt some food and snacks, like even like your like beef sticks were frozen solid. My Nalgene bottle's frozen solid. Everything's just frozen. So we get there. We can't get these dogs off this cliff. We have to hike all the way out in the dark. I think we got back to the truck at like 1 in the morning, and we found this cat track at 4 in the morning the day before. My wife is over it. She is over it. I'm over it. The next morning, I get my buddy. We go to this utility company, a lineman company, and we ask for harnesses and ropes, which they gave us. We borrowed 2 snowmobile back into the dogs. We go in the next morning, and we're calling, and these dogs are dead. They're frozen solid. My buddy's just devastated. He's like, fuck, man, I lost my dogs. Like, those are my 2 best dogs. And I'm feeling horrible. Like, we didn't even kill a cat. I passed on the cat, and he loses 2 dogs. So he's super bummed. And right as like we're getting ready to leave, I hear this little whimper of a dog, and I'm like, dude, I hear something. And we look, and this hound sticks its head over the ledge like shivering, and he's like, holy shit, one's alive. And then the second one pokes its head out, and he's like, oh my god, they're alive. Like, you could just see the relief in his face, because I'm sure with you, certain houndsmen are different. Some look at the hounds as tools, but some of them are like, they become part of your family. Like, that is your hound, and they'll do anything to get these hounds. So we had to go around the backside of this mountain, come in from the top, and we're above the dogs, and we're in like these cedars right on the edge of this cliff. And so he literally gets in this harness, and I had a GoPro camera, and I put it on just in case, like, I let go and he died. Like, this would be documented. I had no idea what I'm doing. I wrapped this rope around a tree. I had a rigger. I used to wear a rigger's belt back then. I didn't even know how to use a fucking rigger's belt. Throw it through it, and he's like, don't drop me. And I'm like, like bark's coming off the tree, the whole cedar tree shaking. Those things are like, the roots are like this in some cracks. And I lower him down to the dogs, like 20, 25 feet down. He gets on this little ledge, and they had pulled all the pine needles and everything in. He said they built like a little nest, and they must have just balled up for the whole night. And then he hooks the dog on, and I freaking pull the dog up. They're all choked out by the time they got to me, like, bring him back to life. It was the worst hunt I've ever been on in my life.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah, it was miserable. That was, to this day, if you ask, when we're done, did you ask the wife the worst hunt she's ever witnessed in her life, she'll say a mountain lion hunt in Wyoming. It sucked.
That's not fun.
No, and then I ended up killing a cat with my buddy a couple of years ago, 2 of my good buddies, and it was literally, we drive for 3 or 4 days, we cut out on some few tracks, nothing. We're headed back to camp, and we cut a track like right on the road. We treed this thing 400 yards off the road. Boom, arrowed it. Walked the whole cat out right to the 8th. I was like, this is great. Like, made up for that time, but
you were talking about how you treat dogs, how some people treat their dogs. The difference in Dale and Clell about how they handled their dogs. The time that I was with Dale, I might have seen him 3 or 4 times actually reach down and pat a dog on the head.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't do it.
Yep.
And Clell would have his dogs all around him, and he's petting these dogs, And those dogs minded a hell of a lot better than Dale's did.
Why do you think that is?
Just, Clell could call his dogs in, and Dale's dogs was hard to call in.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he didn't pay attention to them. They were, like you say, they were tools.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it, where guys just, they just, the way that some dogs are treated, you're just like, oh, jeez, all right. And then I have buddies. These are true houndsman buddies that live in Colorado. They run their dogs all year long. They're just on bears. They actually work for the state, and they're able to go in and run them on nuisance bears all year round. And their dogs are on the couch in the house, sleeping in bed with them. And,
I believe that.
And they're some of the best. And they're a trained pet, but at the same time, they are a hound, and they will be in those mountains chewing on bobcats and mountain lions, getting tore up by bears. And they come home at night, and they're on a whole pack of them sitting on the couch, all just relaxed and perfectly fine. And then I've seen some where those guys will just beat these shit out of those hounds. They live in a kennel out back, never even get touched, but they're a great hound too, so I guess to each their own and whatever their style is.
Yeah. I like to believe in petting the dog.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I think it comes down to like a love, a respect, and a nurture thing. That dog's going to work for you harder if it knows that you're on that same page and same level. That's just my opinion on it. I'm definitely far from a houndsman, but yeah. Well, sir, thank you again.
Thank you.
It was great. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was fun. How long did that go? I didn't even I forgot to set a clock.
3 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh.